My child, stop. Do not scroll. Do not look away. Do not treat this as just another message. I am speaking to you now because something serious is unfolding, and love will not stay silent when danger is near. This is not a warning meant to frighten you. It is a rescue meant to reach you in time. What you are about to hear was not sent for everyone. It was sent for you, at this exact moment, because your next steps matter more than you realize. Stay with me. Listen slowly. Let every word land where it needs to land. If you rush past this, you may miss the very intervention you've been praying for. Watch until the end, because clarity is coming, truth is being revealed, and your response will determine what happens next. My child, come closer and listen to me with your heart, not just your ears. This moment, this very pause in your day, is not an accident, not a coincidence, not a product of wandering thoughts or idle scrolling. I did not allow your eyes to land here by chance. I am intentional in all my ways, and when I interrupt, it is because something precious is at stake. You have lived long enough to know that not everything that happens carries weight, but this does. There are moments I whisper softly, moments I wait patiently, and moments, like this one, when I step directly into your path and place my hand on your chest so you cannot miss me. This is one of those moments. You may have been moving quickly, distracted by responsibility, noise, expectations, or even exhaustion, but I slowed you down because I refused to let you walk blindly forward without warning you of what lies ahead. You are not here because you are curious. You are here because I called you. Deep within you, something recognized my voice even before your mind understood why you stopped. That subtle pull, that quiet seriousness you felt, that was me. I know you are used to thinking everything must have a logical explanation, but some moments are spiritual intersections, places where heaven and earth briefly touch. This is one of them. I am not trying to scare you. I am trying to save you. Love does not remain silent when danger approaches, and I love you more deeply than you can measure. If these words feel weighty, it is because they carry urgency wrapped in compassion. I am not shouting because I am angry. I am speaking clearly because you matter, because your future matters, because what you are walking toward, if left unchecked, will cost you more than you realize. So do not rush past this. Do not treat it lightly. Still your thoughts. Breathe. Let me speak as a father who sees the whole road, not just the next step. I am here now because silence would be betrayal, and I will never betray your soul. You see, my child, randomness is a comforting lie the world tells itself to avoid responsibility and reflection. But I am not random, and neither is your life. Every season you have walked through, every delay that frustrated you, every door that closed when you did not understand why, it all carried intention. And now, this interruption carries intention too. I am stepping in before momentum turns into regret, before habits turn into chains, before a direction quietly becomes destiny. You may not feel like you are standing at a dramatic crossroads. That is how tragedy often begins, not with chaos, but with subtlety. A small shift in values, a quiet compromise, a voice you keep postponing listening to. I am speaking now because I see the trajectory forming, and I love you too much to watch silently while you drift further from safety. Do not mistake my patience in the past for approval. I was waiting for the right moment, this moment, when your heart would be open enough to hear me without immediately defending itself. And even now, I sense your inner resistance, the part of you that wants to say, "This is just words," or "I'll think about this later." But later is exactly what I am rescuing you from. Later is where warnings go to die. Later is where conviction fades and consequences grow. I am inviting you to see this for what it is, an act of mercy. A divine pause before irreversible motion. Nothing has gone wrong yet. That is why I am speaking now. Grace always arrives early, never late. This is not the end of your story. It is a chance to redirect it while redirection is still possible. Stay with me here. Let this truth settle, because everything I say next will build upon this foundation. You were not meant to face what is coming unaware, and I will walk with you through every next step, if you are willing to keep listening. My child, you have been making decisions based on what is directly in front of you, and I do not fault you for that. This is how humans survive. You look at what feels manageable, what seems reasonable, what appears safe in the moment. But hear me now with reverence and humility. You are seeing inches, while I am seeing miles. You are seeing moments, while I am seeing momentum. You are reading today's page, while I already know how the chapter ends if nothing changes. This is why I stepped in when I did. This is why my voice feels weighty, deliberate, and unignorable. I see what you cannot see forming beneath the surface, patterns repeating, tendencies hardening, desires quietly replacing discernment. What looks harmless now will not remain harmless. What feels controllable now will not stay contained. You assume you will recognize danger when it arrives loudly, dramatically, unmistakably. But tragedy rarely announces itself with thunder. It prefers whispers. It disguises itself as normal. It grows comfortable in routine. I see the future ripple effects of the choices you are leaning toward, and they grieve me, not because I am disappointed in you, but because I know what you are meant for, and I know what will be lost if you continue unaware. I see the sleepless nights you haven't had yet. I see the conversations you will wish you could undo. I see the version of you that becomes tired, bitter, and confused, wondering how life drifted so far from peace. And before you think, why did God stop me? Understand this. I am stopping you now. This is me intervening while intervention is still possible. Love that sees ahead does not wait until damage is done. Love warns early. Love protects fiercely. Love speaks now. You must understand this truth deeply, my child. Clarity delayed becomes clarity denied. You assume understanding will come later, after experience teaches you. But some lessons cost too much to learn the hard way. I am not interested in watching you survive avoidable pain just to prove a point. I am interested in preserving your future. There are intersections in life where intuition alone is insufficient, where wisdom must come from above, because the road ahead curves sharply beyond your sight. I see consequences that stack slowly, choice upon choice, justification upon justification, until one day you look back and realize the distance between who you were and who you are has grown painfully wide. I see the emotional erosion that comes when you repeatedly silence conviction. I see how your spiritual sensitivity dulls when you keep telling yourself, this isn't that serious. And I tell you with gravity and grace, it is more serious than you think. Not because you are evil, not because you intend harm, but because direction matters more than intention. You can mean well and still end up broken. You can love me and still wander into unnecessary suffering if you stop listening. I see the enemy's strategy clearly, even when you do not. He does not need to destroy you outright. He only needs to distract you long enough for you to drift. He knows that if he can keep you convinced that nothing is urgent, nothing dangerous, nothing requiring immediate change, then time will do the rest. But time only heals what is aligned with truth. Time does not heal disobedience. Time does not heal ignored warnings. That is why I am speaking with urgency now, before time becomes an accomplice to regret. Listen to me carefully here, my beloved. I am not saying these things to overwhelm you. I am saying them to awaken you. Awareness is mercy. Foresight is protection. When I say I see what you cannot see, I am inviting you into trust, not fear. I am asking you to lean not on your own understanding, but on mine. You have trusted your instincts long enough to know their limits. You have followed feelings long enough to see how quickly they shift. Now I am calling you to follow wisdom, even when wisdom feels uncomfortable, restrictive, or inconvenient. I see the life that flourishes if you turn now. I see peace returning to your mind. I see clarity replacing confusion. I see strength replacing strain. But those futures diverge based on obedience in this moment. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. You are not lost, but you are drifting. And drifting, if left uncorrected, always leads somewhere you never intended to go. Stay with me here. Let this truth settle into your bones. The fact that I am showing you what you cannot see yet is proof that I am invested in who you are becoming. I am not merely reacting to your mistakes. I am proactively guarding your destiny. And as I speak further, I will show you not only what lies ahead, but why now is the moment that matters. My child, if there is one lie that has quietly wrapped itself around your heart, it is this: the belief that you have plenty of time. Time to change later. Time to listen later. Time to get serious later. Time to respond when things feel more urgent, more obvious, more dramatic. But hear me now, not as a distant voice, but as a father leaning close, speaking slowly so you cannot misunderstand. Time is not as generous as you think. You have mistaken delay for safety. You have confused silence with permission. You have interpreted my patience as approval when it was mercy making room for repentance. I need you to understand this deeply. Opportunity as a window, and windows do close. Not because I stop loving, not because grace expires, but because moments pass. Ours harden. Pattern set. What could have been easily corrected earlier becomes painfully complicated later. The enemy knows this, which is why he whispers, "Not now." He does not rush you into disaster. He lulls you into postponement. And postponement is his most effective weapon. You keep telling yourself you'll address this when life slows down, when you feel stronger, when circumstances improve. But life rarely slows on its own. Strength rarely arrives without obedience. Circumstances rarely improve while direction stays the same. I am speaking now because now is when responsiveness is still possible. Tomorrow is not guaranteed to feel the same conviction you feel today. Conviction ignored weakens. Truth postponed fades. And I refuse to let you drift into numbness without sounding the alarm. You know how many lives unravel not because of one catastrophic decision, but because of 1,000 small delays. One ignored nudge. One postponed apology. One conviction set aside. One "I'll deal with it later." Later becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And next year becomes "How did I end up here?" I am not trying to frighten you. I am trying to awaken you. There is a narrow window where change feels difficult but possible. Miss it, and change feels impossible even when pain is unbearable. You are standing in that window right now. This is the moment where turning back costs humility but saves heartbreak. This is the moment where listening feels uncomfortable but prevents collapse. I see you reasoning with yourself, minimizing, comparing your situation to others who seem worse off. But comparison will not protect you. Ignoring early warning signs because others survived theirs does not make you immune. I tailor my warnings personally because your path is unique. Your calling is specific. Your vulnerabilities are known to me. and the tragedy I am trying to spare you from will not announce itself in advance. It will arrive disguised as familiarity, normalcy, routine. That is why urgency is mercy. That is why I am pressing it now. If you wait until consequences feel obvious, you will already be paying a price you did not need to pay. I am not asking you to panic. I am asking you to prioritize. There is a difference. My beloved child, let me say this with tenderness and truth. Responding now does not mean everything changes overnight. It means direction changes today. It means humility speaks before pride calcifies. It means obedience interrupts momentum before momentum becomes a master. You think time is on your side, but time only serves what you submit it to. If you give time to avoidance, it strengthens avoidance. If you give time to obedience, it multiplies peace. I am inviting you right now to choose wisely with the time you have, not the time you assume you will have later. Later is uncertain. Later is fragile. Later is where good intentions go to sleep. But now is alive. Now is where grace is active. Now is where rescue happens. This conversation we are having is happening in real time because realignment is still possible. I am not here to condemn you for what you have delayed. I am here to call you forward while calling forward is still effective. Do not rush past this urgency. Do not dull it with distraction. Let it do its work. Let it wake you up. Because everything I am saying next builds on this truth. The most dangerous moment in a person's life is not when they are lost. It is when they believe they have time to turn back later. And I love you too much to let that lie take root. My child, I need you to hear this without flinching and without defending yourself. The path you are drifting onto does not end in freedom, relief, or peace. It ends in pain. Not immediately, not dramatically, not in a way that alarms you today. It ends in pain quietly, patiently, incrementally. Pain that accumulates like dust in a house no one cleans. Pain that settles into the joints of your soul until moving forward feels exhausting and turning back feels impossible. I am not speaking from theory. I am speaking from eternal sight. I have watched this road claim hearts that once burned with purpose, minds that once carried clarity, lives that once walked upright with joy. And I am speaking now because I refuse to let you confuse familiarity with safety. Just because a path feels normal does not mean it is healthy. Just because many walk it does not mean it leads somewhere good. The most dangerous roads are not the ones marked with warning signs. They are the ones paved smoothly, lined with distractions, and traveled without resistance. You think you are managing fine. You think nothing is really wrong yet. But pain does not require catastrophe to take root. It only requires neglect. Small compromises repeated become character erosion. Ignored convictions become dull discernment. And dull discernment leads people to places they swore they would never go. I am not condemning you for being here. I am intervening because you do not have to stay here. I am showing you the end of the road while there is still space to turn around. Understand this, my beloved. Pain always overpromises and underdelivers. It disguises itself first as relief. This will help me cope. This will take the edge off. This will make things easier. But ease that bypasses truth always charges interest later. What you are allowing now to soothe you will later demand more of you than you are willing to give. I have seen it too many times to remain quiet. At first, it asks for small accommodations, time, attention, justification. Then it asks for silence. Stop listening, stop questioning, stop resisting. And finally, it asks for allegiance. Shape your values around it, protect it, defend it. This is how pain matures into bondage. You do not wake up one day broken. You arrive there by increments, each one small enough to excuse, each one reasonable enough to rationalize. And by the time pain shows its full face, you wonder how you got so far from who you used to be. I am speaking now because you are still close enough to recognize yourself. You still feel the discomfort. You still hear my voice. That means hope is active. That means rescue is possible. Do not wait until pain becomes your teacher. Pain is a cruel instructor. It charges tuition in regret. My child, I would not warn you so clearly if the stakes were not high. I am not exaggerating to manipulate you. I am intensifying truth to reach you. I see the weight you will carry if you keep going, and it grieves me, not because I will love you less, but because you will suffer more. I see how joy thins when compromise thickens. I see how peace erodes when boundaries dissolve. I see how identity fractures when you keep choosing comfort over alignment. But I also see another ending. I see what happens if you stop now. I see relief that does not cost you your integrity. I see rest that does not require numbing your soul. I see healing that does not demand secrecy. The path you are on ends in pain, yes, but the path back begins in honesty. And honesty, though it may sting for a moment, heals for a lifetime. Stay with me. I am not finished speaking, and what I will say next will help you understand why this warning feels so strong, why your spirit has been restless, and why comfort has quietly become a threat. My beloved child, if my voice feels louder than usual, firmer than before, more insistent than you are comfortable with, it is because silence would cost you more than discomfort ever could. I am raising my voice not to intimidate you, but to reach you. Not to overpower you, but to break through the fog that has been settling over your discernment. There are moments when a whisper is sufficient, when a gentle nudge is enough to redirect a willing heart. But there are other moments, sacred, critical moments, when love must speak plainly, urgently, unmistakably. This is one of those moments. You are not being singled out for punishment. You are being singled out for protection. When a child steps too close to traffic, a loving father does not speak softly for the sake of tone. He shouts, because distance and danger demand it. And right now, you are closer to danger than you realize. Not because you are reckless, but because you are tired. Not because you are evil, but because you have grown accustomed to carrying things alone. Fatigue dulls caution. Familiarity lowers guards. And I see how vulnerable you are in this season, even if you refuse to admit it out loud. So yes, my voice is raised, because you are worth interrupting, because your future is worth defending, because the cost of you tuning me out is far greater than the discomfort of hearing me now. Do not mistake volume for anger. My urgency is not frustration. It is fierce love. It is the kind of love that runs toward danger instead of away from it. The kind of love that would rather be misunderstood than watch someone self-destruct politely. You have been interpreting my silence in the past as distance, but it was restraint. I was waiting for the moment when your heart would be receptive enough for clarity, not just comfort. And now that moment has arrived. I am speaking clearly because clarity saves time, and time matters more than you think. I am cutting through excuses, through spiritual noise, through your internal negotiations, because halfway listening will not save you here. Partial obedience will not protect you here. This is not a season for vague intentions or postponed decisions. This is a season for decisive alignment. I know that part of you wishes I would soften this message, make it easier to digest, less confrontational. But comfort that avoids truth is not kindness, it is neglect. I am not here to soothe you into sleep. I am here to wake you up before you wander into harm. If my words are ringing in your chest, repeating themselves in your thoughts, refusing to be ignored. That is not pressure, that is precision. I'm aiming for your attention, because your attention determines your direction. My child, listen closely now. When I raise my voice, it is always because something precious is near the edge. Your calling, your peace, your integrity, your future. I am not trying to control you. I am trying to cover you. I am not demanding perfection. I am inviting responsiveness. You still have a choice. That is why this conversation is happening at all. If it were too late, there would be no warning, only consequences. But I am speaking because it is not too late. Because you can still step back. Because you can still realign. Because humility now will save you from heartbreak later. Let my raised voice remind you of something essential. You are not alone. You are not abandoned, and you are not unseen. A father does not shout into emptiness. He calls to someone he loves deeply and refuses to lose. Stay here with me. Let this urgency settle into resolve, not fear. Because what I will speak next will show you exactly what has been quietly pulling you off course, and how to recognize it before it takes more ground. My child, there have been signs, clearer than you want to admit, gentler than you expected, but persistent all the same. I have been speaking to you long before this moment, but you have learned how to explain my voice away. You called it stress. You called it fatigue. You called it overthinking. Yet deep down, you knew it was more than that. That heaviness that settles on your chest when you are alone is not random. That restlessness that follows you into quiet moments is not coincidence. The discomfort that rises when you consider certain choices is not anxiety. It is discernment knocking from within. I placed those warning signs there not to torment you, but to protect you. They were meant to slow you down, to make you pause, to invite you into reflection before momentum carried you somewhere you never planned to go. But instead of stopping, you adjusted. Instead of listening, you numbed. Instead of asking me, you pushed forward anyway. And still, I did not abandon you. I kept sending signals, through sleepless nights, through repeating thoughts you could not shake, through conversations that struck too close to home. You have felt the friction. You have sensed the misalignment. You have known, even if you refused to say it out loud, that something was off. Warning signs are mercy in motion. They are love's early language. And ignoring them does not make them disappear. It only delays their consequences. You must understand this truth deeply. The soul always knows before the mind admits. Long before collapse shows up in circumstances, it whispers in conscience. Long before disaster becomes visible, it announces itself through discomfort. I have wired you that way on purpose. Your spirit is not fragile, it is perceptive. But perception requires humility to heed. When you repeatedly override that inner resistance, something dangerous happens. You teach yourself not to feel. You train your heart to quiet what was designed to guide you. And once warning signs are consistently ignored, they grow faint, not because danger has passed, but because sensitivity has been dulled. This is why I am intervening now. I see how close you are to silencing the very system meant to keep you safe. I see how easy it has become for you to justify what once troubled you. I see how familiarity has replaced caution. But my child, hear me clearly. Peace does not need justification. If you have to keep explaining why something is okay, it likely isn't. If you have to silence your conscience to maintain your comfort, comfort has become your master. I am not condemning you for this. I am calling you back before numbness becomes your normal state. Warning signs are gifts. They are love tapping you on the shoulder saying, Pay attention. This matters. And I refuse to let you ignore them without one final, unmistakable call. Listen to me now, gently, but firmly. The fact that you still feel uneasy is hope. The fact that something inside you resists this path is grace. The fact that these words are stirring conviction rather than indifference means your heart is still alive. Do not harden it. Do not rush past this discomfort. Sit with it. Let it speak. Let it guide you back into alignment. I am not asking you to fear the warning signs. I am asking you to honor them. They are not there to shame you. They are there to save you. And as we move forward in this conversation, I want you to remember this. Every warning ignored becomes a lesson paid for later. But every warning heeded becomes a testimony of wisdom. Stay with me. There is more I need to show you, because the signs you are ignoring are connected to something deeper. Something about how you have been carrying life alone for far too long. My beloved child, one of the greatest tragedies unfolding quietly in your life is not the choices you are wrestling with, but the isolation you have normalized. You have been carrying weight that was never assigned to you to bear alone. Decisions, fears, responsibilities, struggles. You have held them tightly, telling yourself that strength means self-sufficiency, that maturity means silence, that faith means handling things without help. But hear me now with tenderness and truth, that belief is crushing you. You were not designed to be your own refuge. You were not created to be your own counsel. You were never meant to navigate storms without shelter. Yet here you are, exhausted, burdened, quietly overwhelmed, still telling yourself, I've got this. My child, you do not have this, and you were never supposed to. That is not failure, that is humanity. I see how tired you are. I see how much effort it takes just to appear steady. I see how you retreat inward when things feel heavy, convincing yourself that no one would understand anyway. But isolation is not strength. Isolation is where warning signs go unnoticed, where burdens multiply, where pain echoes without relief. And the enemy knows this well. He does not need to overpower you if he can convince you to stand alone. You have mistaken independence for wisdom and endurance for health. You have learned how to survive quietly, but survival is not the same as living. Carrying everything alone has narrowed your perspective, distorted your judgment, and intensified your fatigue. When you are tired, everything looks more urgent than it is. When you are isolated, everything feels heavier than it should. And when you are overwhelmed, even small compromises feel justified. This is why I have been calling you out of isolation again and again, through nudges to pray, through invitations to speak, through moments when you felt prompted to reach out but didn't. You are not weak for needing support. You are wise for receiving it. I never intended for you to process life without my voice, my presence, my guidance woven into every decision. And yet, you have been making choices while emotionally depleted, spiritually fatigued, mentally overextended. That is not the environment where clarity thrives. That is where mistakes feel reasonable and warnings feel inconvenient. I am speaking now because you are carrying too much to see clearly. And until you release the weight, your vision will remain compromised. My child, let me be clear and gentle all at once. You do not have to prove your strength by suffering silently. You do not have to earn rest by collapsing. You do not have to reach breaking point before asking for help. I am here. I have always been here. Waiting not for perfection, but for permission. Permission to guide you. Permission to carry what you have been gripping too tightly. Permission to surround you with wisdom instead of leaving you alone with your thoughts. The moment you stop carrying everything alone is the moment clarity begins to return. The moment you admit your limits is the moment my strength can meet you fully. This is not about giving up control. It is about receiving covering. Stay with me here, because what you release now determines what you are protected from later. And what I will speak next will show you exactly how subtle influences have been shaping your direction without your awareness, and how to reclaim ground you did not realize you were losing. My child, this is difficult for you to hear, not because it is false, but because it is subtle. Pride has been quietly steering you, and it has done so without announcing its name. You did not wake up one day declaring independence from me. You did not set out to be defiant or self-important. Pride rarely arrives that way. It slips in disguised as competence, as resilience, as I've been through worse, as I know what I'm doing. It speaks in calm, reasonable tones. It tells you that you are strong enough to handle this alone, wise enough to decide without counsel, experienced enough to ignore on knees. And because it does not shout, you have not recognized it as danger. But hear me clearly now, with love and firmness braided together. Pride does not need arrogance to rule you. It only needs you to trust yourself more than you trust my voice. It only needs you to believe that your judgment is sufficient, that your perspective is complete, that your instincts are always reliable. And slowly, quietly, it has been taking the wheel. Not violently, not obviously, but steadily. You have noticed it in how quickly you dismiss caution, in how rarely you ask before acting, in how easily you justify decisions once they are made. Pride does not announce itself as rebellion. It presents itself as self-reliance. And self-reliance, when it replaces surrender, becomes a silent separation between your heart and my guidance. I need you to understand this deeply, my beloved. Pride does not always look like confidence. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion. It looks like someone who has carried so much for so long that they decide they cannot afford to slow down and listen anymore. It looks like someone who has survived many storms and now believes they no longer need direction. But survival is not the same as alignment. Endurance is not the same as obedience. You have learned how to cope, but coping is not the same as living wisely. And pride thrives where coping replaces communion. When you stop asking me because you assume you already know the answer. When you stop waiting because you believe delay is weakness. When you stop checking your heart because you trust your momentum more than your conscience. That is when pride quietly tightens its grip. I see how it has narrowed your listening. I see how it has hardened your flexibility. I see how it has made correction feel like insult instead of protection. And I am not exposing this to shame you. I am exposing it to free you. Pride isolates. Humility reconnects. Pride convinces you that you are safest when you are self-directed. Humility reminds you that you are safest when you are covered. I am calling you back into humility not because you are failing, but because you are drifting. And drifting, when driven by pride, always feels justified until the cost becomes undeniable. My child, humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking less of yourself as the final authority. It is the willingness to pause, to question, to listen even when you feel certain. It is the courage to say, I may be wrong, before life proves it painfully. I am asking you now to loosen your grip on control. Not because you are incapable, but because you are human. And humans were never designed to be their own compass. Pride hath been steering quietly, yes, but it does not have to keep driving. You can take the wheel back by surrendering it to me. You can realign without humiliation. You can turn without collapse. But you must recognize this influence now, while recognition is still gentle. Stay with me, because the next thing I must show you is how distraction has partnered with pride, how comfort has become camouflage, and how danger often hides behind what feels familiar. My child, as I expose what has been quietly steering hearts. I also call those who hear me to help turn others before tragedy takes root. What you give in this moment is not money. It is oil poured into a lamp that keeps burning while others walk in shadow. I am placing a desire in you to help carry this warning further, because you know what it means to be redirected before the cost is paid. Those who turn many to righteousness will shine like the stars, and I am speaking that over you now. This is a moment where humility becomes action, where surrender becomes seed. Through super thanks, membership, or your gift through PayPal, the link is in the video description. You help my voice reach souls who are still drifting and do not yet know it. I will bless what you release with protection, clarity, and multiplied impact. Do not hesitate. Give now, and let me use your obedience to spare others from a tragedy they cannot yet see. My beloved child, if the enemy cannot destroy you outright, he will soothe you into sleep. He prefers you comfortable, not aware, distracted, not discerning, busy, not attentive. He does not need you to hate me. He only needs you to stop listening. He does not need you to rebel loudly. He only needs you to drift quietly. Comfort is his most effective camouflage. When life feels manageable, when routines feel familiar, when nothing feels urgently wrong, awareness dulls. And dulled awareness is fertile ground for tragedy. You have mistaken comfort for peace. But peace sharpens discernment. Comfort often numbs it. Peace draws you closer to truth. Comfort asks you not to ask questions. I see how easily you have settled into rhythms that require nothing of your spirit. I see how distraction has filled the spaces where reflection once lived. Noise where silence once spoke. Entertainment where examination once happened. And none of it looks evil. That is the danger. The enemy does not always dress as chaos. Sometimes he dresses as convenience. He wraps chains in softness so you do not feel their weight until movement becomes difficult. And all the while, he whispers, "You're fine. Nothing's wrong. Relax." But I tell you now with clarity and love, comfort that dulls awareness is not a blessing. It is a trap. You must hear this without fear but with sobriety. Awareness is your protection. When you are alert, you notice misalignment early. When you are attentive, you catch subtle shifts before they become severe. But comfort lulls the soul into passivity. It teaches you to accept instead of examine, to scroll instead of pray, to cope instead of confront. And over time, what once would have alarmed you barely registers. The enemy celebrates that state, not because you are sinful but because you are asleep. An unaware heart rarely resists. An unexamined life rarely corrects course. I have been trying to awaken you gently, repeatedly, persistently, through that inner unrest, through moments where comfort suddenly felt hollow, through quiet dissatisfaction you could not explain. Those were alarms, not inconveniences. That was me trying to pull you out of numbness before numbness became your default state. Because when awareness fades, choice narrows. And when choice narrows, freedom follows. I am not accusing you of laziness. I am warning you of subtle captivity. Comfort is not evil, but comfort without awareness is dangerous. And right now, you are too comfortable with things that should trouble you. My child, let me awaken you gently, but firmly now. You were created to be awake, alive, responsive, discerning. You were not designed to drift through life anesthetized by routine and distraction. The fact that these words are stirring you, unsettling you, breaking through your comfort, that is grace at work. That is awareness returning. Do not push it away. Do not soothe it with noise. Let it sharpen you again. Let it remind you that your life is sacred. Your direction matters. and your future is not something to be sleepwalked into. The enemy prefers you comfortable because comfort keeps you quiet. But I prefer you aware because awareness keeps you free. Stay here with me, because what comes next is critical. You are closer to a crossroads than you realize, and the next choice you make will reveal whether comfort or truth has your loyalty. My child, whether you feel it clearly or not, you are standing at a fork in the road right now. Not someday, not later. Now, this moment is not dramatic on the outside, but it is decisive on the inside. One direction continues exactly as things are, familiar, predictable, comfortable in its own uneasy way. The other direction requires courage, humility, and interruption. One path asks nothing of you today and takes everything from you tomorrow. The other asks something of you today and gives you life tomorrow. I need you to understand this with sober clarity. Neutrality is not an option here. Standing still is already a decision. Drifting forward without choosing is choosing by default. The road you are currently on will keep moving whether you are paying attention or not. Momentum does not pause for reflection. And that is why I am stopping you here, at the fork, before motion makes the decision for you. I see how easy it would be to keep going, to avoid the discomfort of choosing, to tell yourself that clarity will come later. But clarity rarely comes to those who refuse to choose. It comes to those who choose and then align. I am not asking you to leap blindly. I am asking you to look honestly. One road narrows but leads upward. The other widens but leads downward. One road feels quiet but carries truth. The other feels busy but carries distraction. You know this already. That knowing hath been pressing on your chest, stirring unease, interrupting your sleep. That is not anxiety, it is awareness. And awareness means the fork is real. At this fork, voices will compete for your loyalty. Familiar voices. Comfortable voices. Voices that say, don't overthink this. Voices that say, everyone else does it. Voices that say, you can turn back later. And then there is my voice. Steady, firm, loving, unwavering, saying, choose life. The narrow road is rarely crowded. It does not offer immediate applause. It does not promise instant relief. But it does offer alignment. And alignment produces peace that comfort cannot counterfeit. The wide road, on the other hand, rarely feels dangerous at first. It feels permissive. It feels validating. It feels like relief from pressure. But relief without truth is a sedative, not a solution. I have watched many stand where you are standing now. Some chose courage and never regretted it, even when it was hard. Others chose ease and spent years trying to recover what one moment of honesty could have preserved. I am not telling you this to scare you. I am telling you this because choice is holy. Choice shapes destiny. Choice reveals what you trust. And right now, your next step will reveal whether you trust my guidance or your own momentum. I will walk with you on either road, but only one leads where your soul actually wants to go. My child, do not romanticize indecision. Indecision is not wisdom, it is fear wearing patience as clothing. Do not wait for perfect clarity. Clarity often follows obedience, not precedes it. You already have enough light to take the next right step. The fork is not asking you to map the entire future. It is asking you to choose alignment over avoidance. You do not need to understand everything to choose me. You only need to be willing. Willing to turn. Willing to pause. Willing to say, I don't want to keep going this way anymore. That willingness is powerful. It is the hinge on which futures swing. Stay with me here at this fork. Feel the weight of the moment, not as fear, but as honor. Heaven pays attention to crossroads. And as we move forward, I need to say something crucial, something that will clarify your heart even more, because what you may be feeling right now is not threat. It is protection. My beloved child, let me say this slowly and clearly so there is no confusion in your heart. I am not threatening you. Fear is not my language. Manipulation is not my method. Control is not my desire. Everything I have spoken to you carries urgency, yes, but urgency born of love, not domination. I know how easy it is for the human heart to misinterpret intensity as anger, firmness as rejection, warning as condemnation. But I need you to hear the truth beneath the tone. I am for you. Completely. Unwaveringly. I am not standing over you with punishment in my hands. I am standing in front of you with protection extended. The threat says, do this or else. Love says, stop. There is danger ahead. The threat seeks compliance. Love seeks preservation. If I wanted to threaten you, I would remain vague and let fear do the work. Instead, I am being specific, personal, and patient because I want understanding, not panic. You are not being cornered. You are being covered. I am not trying to force a decision. I am trying to inform one. And if my words feel weighty, it is because truth has gravity. Gravity does not push, it pulls. It reveals what is real. And what is real right now is this. You matter too much to me for me to stay quiet. Think of it this way, my child. A loving father does not threaten his child away from fire. He warns them because he knows what fire does. He has seen the burns. He has of the heat. He knows the pain that follows curiosity without caution. And even if the child does not yet feel the danger, the father acts anyway. That is what I am doing now. I am acting on knowledge you do not yet have and consequences you do not yet feel. I am not saying, obey me or I will harm you. I am saying, listen to me so harm does not reach you. There is a world of difference. The enemy thrives on misinterpretation. He wants you to believe my firmness is cruelty, my urgency is impatience, my boundaries are restrictions meant to limit your joy. But boundaries are where safety lives. Boundaries are how joy survives. I am not removing your freedom. I am protecting it. I am not shrinking your life. I am preserving its future. And if part of you still feels defensive, still feels the urge to push back, pause and ask yourself this. Why does protection feel threatening right now? Often, it is because something else has already begun to claim influence over your choices. And I am gently but firmly reclaiming ground. My child, I am inviting you to trust my heart, not just my words. You have known me long enough to remember how I speak when I love, and this is it. Firm, present, attentive, unwilling to abandon you to consequences you do not need to suffer. I am not ready you but love the unthreatened. Love warns. Love intervenes. Love refuses to leave someone uninformed when danger is near. Let this truth settle your spirit. You are safe with me even when the message is strong. Especially when the message is strong. Because strength in my voice means commitment to your well-being. Stay here. Rein. Let fear fall away and discernment rise. Because what I will speak next will expose something even more personal. Something about the pull you've been feeling, the pressure you've been under, and why your heart has been so divided lately. My beloved child, before these words ever reached your eyes, before this moment ever arrived, you had already felt the pull to turn back. That pull did not begin today. It has been visiting you quietly, persistently, faithfully. It showed up as hesitation when you were about to cross a line you once promised yourself you would never cross. It showed up as a heaviness in your spirit when you tried to justify something your conscience questioned. It showed up as a sudden loss of peace right in the middle of something that was supposed to make you feel better. That pull was me. Not loudly, not grammatically, but consistently. I have been reaching for you long before you recognized the danger ahead. You felt it in moments when you paused and thought, something isn't right, even though you couldn't fully explain why. You felt it when you almost turned around, but didn't. When you almost spoke up but stayed silent. When you almost chose differently, but convinced yourself it didn't matter. That pull was not confusion. It was correction. It was my spirit gently tugging at your heart, saying, "Come back. This isn't where you belong." And the fact that you felt it means your heart is still responsive. It means you are not lost. It means you are not beyond reach. It means rescue hath been active all along. But here is where I must speak plainly, my child. Every time you feel the pull and ignore it, the pull does not disappear, it weakens. Not because I stopped calling, but because your heart learns to resist. Sensitivity is a gift, but it must be protected. When conviction rises and is honored, it grows stronger. When conviction rises and is dismissed, it grows quieter. This is not punishment, it is conditioning. What you practice, you become fluent in. And lately, you have been practicing override. You have been practicing self-persuasion. You have been practicing telling yourself that the pull is inconvenient, ill-timed, unnecessary. Yet even now, you feel it again. Stronger. Clearer. Less ignorable. That is because I will not give up easily on you. I am intensifying my call because the ground ahead grows more dangerous with each step forward. I am not asking you to analyze every past moment you ignored. I am asking you to respond to this one. Because this pull, right now, is not gentle suggestion. It is urgent invitation. It is grace knocking louder because the hour demands it. My child, turning back is not failure. Turning back is wisdom. Turning back is strength. Turning back is proof that you are still teachable, still alive, still listening. Pride tells you that retreat is shameful. Truth tells you that retreat can be life-saving. Do not let false courage carry you into real pain. True courage listens when warned. True courage chooses alignment over appearance. The pull you feel now is not trying to take something from you. It is trying to return you to yourself. To who you were before compromise felt normal. To who you were before comfort dulled your discernment. To who you were when peace mattered more than pleasure. Stay with me in this moment. Let the pull do its work. Because what I will speak next will help you understand why this warning feels repetitive, insistent, even relentless. Why I am saying the same truth in many ways. Because repetition is mercy when memory is short and the stakes are high. My child, one of the greatest misunderstandings you carry is the belief that tragedy arrives suddenly, violently, without warning. But tragedy is almost never abrupt. It is gradual. It is cumulative. It is patient. It arrives not with an explosion, but with erosion. It takes ground inch by inch, choice by choice, compromise by compromise, until one day you look around and realize the distance between where you are and where you started feels overwhelming. That is why I am speaking now, before anything dramatic has happened. Because prevention is quieter than rescue, and wisdom always speaks earlier than regret. Tragedy does not begin with catastrophe. It begins with permission. Permission to ignore small convictions. Permission to excuse subtle discomfort. Permission to delay obedience. And each permission makes the next one easier to grant. You have been telling yourself that nothing terrible has happened yet, and that is true. But it is also precisely why this moment matters. You are not standing in ruins. You are standing at the edge. And edges are where decisions matter most. I see the trajectory forming even if you do not. I see how one more step leads to another, and another, until turning back feels too costly. That is how tragedy traps people, not by force but by familiarity. Let me say this clearly, my beloved. The absence of disaster is not evidence of safety. It is often evidence of mercy. Mercy buys time. Mercy creates space. Mercy delays consequences so correction can occur. And you are living inside mercy right now. But mercy is not meant to be wasted. It is meant to be received. Tragedy grows when mercy is mistaken for immunity. When patience is mistaken for approval. When delay is mistaken for denial. I have watched countless lives unravel not because they were reckless, but because they were complacent. They assumed they would recognize the danger when it became serious. They assumed they would change when the cost became obvious. But by the time the cost is obvious, it is often already expensive. This is why I repeat myself. This is why I circle back to the same themes. This is why my voice has followed you from one message to the next. Repetition is not nagging. It is protection. I repeat because what I am trying to prevent is not small. And I would rather sound insistent now than watch you suffer later. My child, hear this and let it anchor you. You are not being warned because you are weak. You are being warned because you are valuable. Tragedy rarely arrives suddenly, but wisdom can arrive decisively. One honest pause, one humble turn, one courageous admission of I needed change to be reckoned. That is all it takes to interrupt a long, painful sequence before it ever fully begins. You are not too far gone. You are not trapped. You are not beyond help. You are early enough for intervention, early enough for protection, early enough for a different ending. Stay with me. Do not rush away from this moment. Because what I will speak next will reveal something even more hopeful, that this warning is not about loss. It is about rescue already in motion. My beloved child, listen to me now with a softened heart, because what I am about to say carries hope wrapped in urgency. I am offering you an escape route, not a theory, not a future possibility, not a vague promise, a real way out, right now, in this moment, before damage becomes permanent, before regret becomes heavy, before restoration becomes complicated. I would not warn you so intensely without also providing a way of rescue. I am not a father who points out danger and then steps back to watch what happens. I am a father who steps in front of the danger and says, "Come this way instead." Grace always arrives with direction. Mercy always comes with movement. And the escape route I am offering you does not require perfection, strength, or clarity. It requires honesty. It requires the willingness to stop pretending that everything is fine, to stop negotiating with unease, to stop telling yourself that you can handle this a little longer. The escape route begins the moment you admit, "I don't want to keep going this way." That sentence alone carries power. It breaks momentum. It interrupts trajectory. It opens space for my guidance to re-enter where pride and distraction had taken over. I am not asking you to undo the past. I am asking you to choose a different next step. Escape is not dramatic. It is directional. You see, my child, many believe escape means running away in fear, abandoning responsibility, or collapsing in shame. But the escape I offer is rooted in wisdom, not panic. It is the courage to turn before the road narrows. It is the humility to say, "I need help," before help becomes urgent. It is the obedience to pause while pausing is still possible. I have already begun clearing this path for you. The fact that you are hearing me this clearly is part of the escape. The fact that your heart feels stirred instead of defensive is part of the escape. The fact that conviction still reaches you is part of the escape. Do not underestimate how much is already being done on your behalf. I have been arranging moments, softening resistance, and making space for truth to land. Escape routes are not always obvious because they often require letting go of what feels familiar. But familiar is not always safe. Familiar can be a cage you have decorated with excuses. I am inviting you into unfamiliar obedience, because unfamiliar obedience leads to familiar peace. The peace you used to know, the peace you have been missing, the peace your soul still remembers. My child, take this in deeply. You are not trapped. You are not cornered. You are not doomed to repeat patterns you recognize but feel powerless to change. Escape is available because I am present, and I do not offer escape routes that lead to emptiness. I offer ones that lead to life. You do not have to run blindly. You only have to turn willingly. Let go of the idea that turning back makes you weak. Turning back now makes you wise. Let go of the fear that escape means loss. What you lose on this path is what has been quietly costing you anyway: peace, clarity, rest. Stay with me, because what I need to say next is deeply connected to this. Why turning now will not cost you your future, but will actually protect what matters most. My precious child, if you truly understood your value, you would not negotiate with danger the way you have been. You would not stand so close to what can harm you and tell yourself you will move when it gets worse. You would not gamble your peace for temporary relief. You would not risk your future for momentary comfort. But you have underestimated yourself, not out of arrogance, but out of weariness. Somewhere along the way, exhaustion whispered that survival was enough, that getting by was acceptable, that you did not need to protect your heart so fiercely anymore, and that whisper has cost you perspective. You are not ordinary. You are not expendable. You are not replaceable. There are futures tied to your obedience. People who will be affected by the decisions you make now. Purposes that require your wholeness, not just your presence. I see the value you carry even when you have forgotten it. I see what is at stake even when you minimize it. That is why I am so invested in this moment. You are not being dramatic by turning back. You are honoring the weight of who you are and what you carry. Let me speak this plainly, my child. You are worth protecting. Your mind is worth guarding. Your peace is worth defending. Your calling is worth preserving. And the enemy knows this. That is why he targets you subtly, patiently, persistently. He does not need to destroy you to neutralize you. He only needs to wear you down until you stop believing you are worth fighting for. But I fight for what is valuable. I warn what is precious. I intervene where there is purpose. If you were insignificant, there would be no urgency. If your future were inconsequential, there would be no warning. The intensity of this moment is a reflection of your worth, not your failure. You have been measuring yourself by your fatigue instead of by my intention. Fatigue distorts value. Weariness narrows vision. But I see clearly, and I tell you now with authority and love combined, your life carries weight, and weight must be handled carefully. You do not throw something valuable into danger and hope for the best. You protect it. You secure it. You treat it with reverence. I am calling you to treat yourself with the same seriousness heaven already does. My child, let this truth settle deeply. You do not need to earn your value by proving endurance. You do not need to justify rest by collapsing. You do not need to minimize risk to feel brave. Your value is already established. And because it is established, this moment matters. Turning now is not giving up. It is honoring what I placed inside you. It is saying, what God has entrusted to me is worth protecting. Stay with me here, because everything I am saying is building toward one clear invitation, an invitation that will require courage, honesty, and trust, but will also open the door to peace you have been missing. My child, I need you to hear this with clarity and courage, not fear. The cost of continuing on this path will be greater than you expect. Not just heavier, but wider. Not just painful for you, but far-reaching. You have been calculating the cost in small numbers, manageable losses, tolerable discomforts, temporary consequences. But I see the full accounting, and the numbers extend beyond what you have been considering. Choices never remain private for long. They echo. They ripple. They touch places you did not intend to expose. The cost you are underestimating is not only emotional strain or spiritual dullness. It is the quiet erosion of trust, the slow weakening of resolve, the subtle reshaping of identity. What begins as a coping mechanism becomes a habit. What begins as a habit becomes a posture. And what becomes a posture eventually defines how you move through the world. I see how easily you reassure yourself that you can stop anytime, that you can fix things later, that you will address consequences when they actually appear. But some costs are paid before you realize you have agreed to them. Some prices are charged in advance, paid in clarity, in confidence, in courage. I am speaking now because I see invis already forming, and I would rather spare you than say later, I tried to warn you. This is not exaggeration. This is foresight fueled by love. Listen closely, my beloved. The cost will be greater because compromise compounds. One concession invites another. One silence makes the next silence easier. One ignored conviction dulls the next warning. This is how the price rises without announcement. You do not feel it all at once. You feel it gradually, until one day the weight surprises you. You wake up tired in ways sleep cannot fix. You feel distant from yourself in ways rest cannot restore. You wonder why joy feels thinner, why peace feels conditional, why confidence feels borrowed. And you ask, when did this happen? It happened slowly. It happened politely. It happened while you were telling yourself you were fine. I am not trying to frighten you into obedience. I am trying to illuminate reality before reality teaches you harshly. You think you are managing the cost, but the cost is managing you. It is shaping your reactions, narrowing your patience, influencing your decisions. And the longer it goes unaddressed, the more it demands. Costs always increase when payment is deferred. Wisdom pays early to avoid paying dearly later. My child, let this truth settle with gravity and grace. The reason I am interrupting you now is because the price is still negotiable. The invoice is not finalized. The cost is not locked in. You can still choose a different rate, a rate paid in humility instead of regret, in obedience instead of loss, in honesty instead of repair. Do not confuse I can survive this with this is worth surviving. You were not created to merely endure the consequences of misalignment. You were created to walk in peace, clarity, and purpose. I am inviting you to count the cost honestly, not with fear, but with wisdom. Because what I will show you next is something even more sobering and hopeful at the same time, that I have seen this story before, and I know exactly how it ends if you keep going, and exactly how it changes if you turn now. My beloved, I have shown you that cost always increases when truth is delayed, and now I am offering you a way to redeem time. What you sow here becomes a shield for others, a warning sent ahead before the invoice comes due. I am stirring you because the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few, and today I am inviting you to labor with me. Your support is not small. It is a river that carries light into places where compromise has grown quietly. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, the link is in the video description. You help stop cycles before they compound and costs before they crush. I will multiply what you place in my hands and return it with peace and discernment. This is not a random moment. It is an appointed one. Act now, sow wisely, give boldly, and partner with me before the cost rises further. My beloved child, I have seen this story before. Not once, not twice, many times. I have watched hearts just like yours, sincere, capable, well-intentioned, stand where you are standing now. I have heard the same inner debates, the same justifications, the same quiet unease brushed aside with similar words. I have watched people promise themselves they would adjust course later, only to find later far more resistant than earlier ever was. This is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to sober you. Patterns repeat when warnings are ignored. Roads lead where they lead regardless of who walks them. And I see the familiar markers ahead. The gradual distancing, the rationalizations that sound wise but feel hollow, the growing gap between who you are becoming and who you once hoped to be. I am not guessing. I am not speculating. I am recognizing a trajectory I know well. And because I know it well, I am stepping in with precision and urgency. You are not unique in your struggle, but you are unique in your calling. And that is exactly why this warning is personal. I have seen how this story ends when people keep going. I have seen the regret that arrives quietly, not dramatically. I have seen the mourning for lost time, lost clarity, lost relationships, lost self-respect. I have seen people look back and say, "I knew better," and carry that sentence like a stone for years. I have also seen how this story ends when people choose differently at the moment you are in now. I have seen relief replace anxiety. I have seen strength return. I have seen peace re-enter lives that felt permanently unsettled. I have seen joy bloom again where numbness had settled. The difference was not talent, intelligence, or willpower. The difference was responsiveness. One group waited until consequences forced change. The other listened when love warned early. I am showing you this not to overwhelm you, but to empower you. You are not the first to face this fork, and you do not have to learn by loss. Wisdom allows you to learn by listening. My child, because I have seen this story before, I know this. The moment of decision always feels smaller than it actually is. It feels like a private thought, a quiet shift, an internal agreement. But heaven marks it. Destiny responds to it. Futures pivot on it. And right now, heaven is attentive. Not anxious. Not condemning. Attentive. Waiting to see which version of the story you choose to write. You are not being rushed into disaster. You are being invited into wisdom. You are not being pressured into fear. You are being called into clarity. Stay with me, because the next thing I need to tell you is profoundly hopeful, that even now, even here, everything you fear losing can still be protected if you are willing to respond. My beloved child, this is your moment, not to prove strength, not to defend your choices, not to explain yourself, but to choose humility. Humility is not humiliation. Humility is clarity. It is the moment you stop arguing with truth and start agreeing with it. It is the moment you loosen your grip on being right and tighten your grip on being safe. I know humility feels costly to you right now. It feels like surrendering control. It feels like admitting uncertainty. It feels like stepping out from behind explanations that have protected your pride. But hear me carefully. Humility is not the loss of dignity. It is the preservation of destiny. Pride says, "I can handle this." Humility says, I don't have to. Pride says, I'll figure it out as I go. Humility says, I want guidance before I'm lost. This is the crossroads where humility saves years. Years of repair. Years of regret. Years of asking questions that obedience today would have answered. I am not asking you to kneel before me because I need power. I already have it. I am asking you to kneel because humility puts you in a posture where protection can reach you. You cannot receive covering while insisting on control. You cannot be guided while insisting you already know the way. Humility opens doors, pride keeps locked. You have been strong for a long time, my child. You have endured, adapted, survived. And somewhere along the way, survival became your identity. You learned to push through discomfort instead of pausing to examine it. You learned to carry weight instead of asking if the weight was ever meant for you. Humility now feels foreign because endurance had been familiar. But endurance without alignment becomes strain. Strength without surrender becomes isolation. I am not diminishing what you have survived. I am honoring it by inviting you into something better than survival. Humility does not erase your strength. It redeems it. It redirects it. It says, I have come this far, and I am wise enough to stop before I go too far. The enemy fears humility more than discipline, because humility breaks patterns instantly. One humble decision can undo months of drift. One honest pause can dismantle momentum built on compromise. This is why this moment matters so deeply. Heaven is not asking you to collapse. It is asking you to bow. And a bowed heart sees farther than a raised chin ever could. My child, choose humility now while it still feels voluntary. Choose humility before circumstances demand it. Choose humility while it still opens doors instead of closing them. There is no shame waiting for you here, only relief. Relief from pretending. Relief from caring. Relief from knowing you do not have to have all the answers to make the right choice. Say it quietly if you need to, but say it honestly. I need help. Those words do not disqualify you. They align you. And alignment changes everything. Stay with me. Because the next truth I need to speak will feel gentler, but it is just as powerful. This moment does not require you to fix everything. It only requires you to take one honest step. My precious child, breathe now. Let your shoulders drop. Let the urgency settle into peace rather than panic. You do not need to fix everything today. You do not need to untangle every consequence, solve every problem, or map every next step. I am not asking for a lifetime of perfection in a single moment. I am asking for one honest movement of the heart. One turn. One pause. One decision to stop going further down a road you already know is not leading where you hoped. The enemy has been pressuring you with the lie that if you cannot change everything immediately, you might as well change nothing at all. That lie keeps people frozen, overwhelmed, paralyzed. But transformation does not begin with completion. It begins with direction. A ship does not need to be at its destination to be safe. It only needs to be pointed the right way. And right now, I'm helping you adjust direction before the waters grow rougher. Hear this with tenderness, my child. Overwhelm is not from me. I do not burden you with impossible expectations. I do not demand instant maturity. I do not confuse urgency with pressure. Urgency says, this matters. Pressure says, do it all now or fail. I am not pressuring you. I am inviting you. Inviting you to stop digging. Inviting you to stop explaining. Inviting you to stop running. You can take one step today and leave the rest in my hands. One confession. One boundary. One honest prayer. One courageous no. One humble request for help. Small steps taken in truth carry more power than giant leaps taken in denial. Do not despise the simplicity of obedience. Simplicity is how freedom begins. The enemy wants you to think obedience is complicated, so you will postpone it. I am telling you, obedience can be as simple as stopping where you are and saying, "Lord, lead me." My beloved child, let this truth anchor you. Today is not about arrival. It is about alignment. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are early enough to choose wisely. Do not rush to repair what obedience will prevent from breaking further. Walk with me one step at a time. I am not standing at the finish line judging your pace. I am standing beside you, guiding your next step. And as you walk with me, clarity will come. Strength will return. Peace will rebuild. Stay with me, because what I will speak next will reassure your heart even more. Obedience now does not mean you lose everything. In fact, it means something precious is about to be preserved. My beloved child, listen to me carefully now, because this truth is meant to loosen the fear gripping your heart. If you turn now, nothing is lost. I know it feels like turning back means forfeiting progress, admitting wasted time, or confessing failure. I know your mind whispers that you have gone too far, invested too much, endured too long to change direction without losing something important. But that whisper is not wisdom. It is fear masquerading as logic. I see what you cannot see. The real loss would be continuing forward when turning back would preserve what matters most. You are not throwing away your story by choosing differently now. You are rescuing it. You are not erasing growth. You are protecting it from being corrupted. You are not undoing progress. You are preventing distortion. Turning back at the right time is not regression. It is course correction. Pilots do it. Navigators do it. Wise souls do it. They do not measure success by distance traveled, but by accuracy of direction. I am telling you now, with certainty and compassion intertwined, obedience at this moment will not rob you. It will rescue you. What feels like loss to pride is preservation to destiny. Let me speak directly to the fear beneath your hesitation. You are afraid that if you turn now, you will have to face questions, admit mistakes, or grieve what could have been. But hear me clearly, grief delayed is heavier than grief acknowledged. Loss avoided is always lighter than loss endured. What you fear losing by turning back is already at risk if you keep going. The difference is this: turning now places the outcome in my hands. Continuing forward places it in the hands of consequence. I am not asking you to burn bridges. I am asking you to stop walking toward collapse. I am not asking you to erase the past. I am asking you to protect the future. There are things you think you will lose if you obey. Status, comfort, familiarity, momentum. But those things are temporary shelters at best. What you stand to preserve is far greater. Your peace, your integrity, your clarity, your ability to hear me without distortion. I see how the enemy has framed obedience as sacrifice without reward. But obedience always carries return. Sometimes immediately, sometimes quietly, always faithfully. Nothing surrendered to me is ever wasted. Nothing placed in my care is ever diminished. My child, let this truth settle deeply and dismantle the fear that has been holding you hostage. Turning now is not the end of something good. It is the prevention of something painful. You are early enough to keep your joy intact, your heart soft, your conscience alive. You are early enough to walk away without scars that obedience would have prevented. I am not waiting to shame you for how far you've gone. I am ready to celebrate how wisely you stopped. Heaven does not mock course correction. It honors it. Angels do not sigh in disappointment when a soul turns back. They rejoice because disaster has been averted. Stay with me, because what I need to speak next will anchor this truth even deeper. The door you think is closing behind you is not closing at all. Another door is standing open in front of you. My precious child, even now, after the delays, after the rationalizations, after the moments you nearly ignored my voice, I am still holding the door open. Not barely, not reluctantly, but intentionally. Doors do not remain open by accident. They remain open because someone is holding them. And I am holding this one for you. You have feared that your hesitation has exhausted my patience, that your delays have narrowed your options, that this moment might already be slipping away. But hear me clearly and let it steady your heart. The door is open because I want you to walk through it. I have not withdrawn opportunity, I have preserved it. I have not rescinded grace, I have extended it. This is not a last chance spoken in anger. It is an open invitation spoken in love. The very fact that you are still feeling conviction instead of numbness, hope instead of despair, clarity instead of confusion, that is evidence that the door is not closed. I do not tease my children with openings I never intend them to enter. If I am calling you now, it is because access is still available. But I need to say this with honesty and care. Doors do not stay open forever. Not because I grow impatient, but because moments pass. Seasons shift. Hearts change. And what is available now may not be available later in the same way. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to focus you. Opportunity is a living thing. It responds to movement. When you step toward truth, doors swing wider. When you hesitate repeatedly, doors grow heavier. I am holding the door open now because this is the appointed moment for you to decide. Not tomorrow. Not when it feels easier. Not when circumstances force you. But now, while choice is still free, while humility is still voluntary, while obedience still feels possible rather than desperate. I am not rushing you, but I am asking you to recognize the significance of timing. Timing is not pressure. Timing is precision. And this moment has been prepared with great care. My beloved child, do not stare at the open door so long that you forget to walk through it. Do not analyze it until fear convinces you it might close. Simply come. Step forward with honesty, not certainty. With trust, not perfection. I am not on the other side waiting to evaluate you. I am right here, holding the door, ready to walk with you the moment you move. This is not about proving your worth. It is about accepting protection. Stay with me, because what I will speak next is both tender and powerful. The peace you have been longing for is not far away. It is waiting on the other side of obedience. My beloved child, I know how deeply you have been longing for peace, not the kind that numbs you for a moment, not the kind that distracts you just long enough to get through the day, but the kind that settles your spirit and lets you breathe again. That peace has not disappeared because you are broken. It has withdrawn because you have been walking out of alignment. Peace is not a reward for perfection. It is the fruit of obedience. When your steps align with truth, peace flows naturally, quietly, faithfully. When your steps drift, peace does not punish you by leaving. It simply refuses to lie to you by staying. I need you to hear this clearly. Peace is not avoiding discomfort. Peace is agreeing with reality. That is why you have felt restless even when things looked fine on the surface. That is why sleep has not fully restored you, why quiet moments have felt loud, why relief has felt temporary. Your soul knows when it is misaligned, even when your mind is still negotiating. Peace will return, not when everything is fixed, not when life is easy, not when the future is certain, but when you obey. Obedience reopens the channel peace travels through. You have been searching for peace in explanations, in reasoning, in comfort, in delay. But peace does not respond to logic alone. It responds to surrender. It is not found by managing anxiety. It is found by addressing the cause. And the cause, my child, is not that you are weak. It is that you are divided. Part of you wants truth, and part of you wants comfort. Peace cannot live where the heart is split. It does not shout. It withdraws and waits. It waits for you to choose alignment over avoidance. I am not withholding peace from you as punishment. I am preserving its integrity. Peace cannot bless what truth is trying to correct. But the moment you take a step of obedience, however small, you will feel it begin to return. Maybe not as fireworks, but as stillness, as quiet clarity, as a weight lifting you did not realize you were carrying. Peace comes back gently, like a familiar voice you haven't heard in a while, saying, "You're safe again. You're home." My child, let this settle your heart. You do not need to chase peace. You need to choose alignment. Peace will follow you when you walk the right way. You have not lost it forever. You have simply stepped off the path where it walks. Obedience brings peace not because obedience earns favor, but because obedience restores order. And order is where peace thrives. Stay with me now, because the next truth I must speak will remind you of something powerful, something about who you were created to be, and why settling for survival is beneath the life I designed for you. My precious child, I need you to lift your eyes for a moment and see yourself the way I see you. You were not created merely to survive. You were not formed just to cope, endure, recover, and repeat. Survival is not the goal of your life. It is what happens when purpose is delayed. Somewhere along the way, you began to measure success by how well you managed pain instead of how fully you lived in truth. You learned how to get through hard seasons, and that skill kept you alive, but it was never meant to define you. I did not breathe life into you so you could spend it constantly repairing damage, managing fallout, and steadying yourself after avoidable storms. I created you for clarity, for joy, for impact, for peace that runs deeper than circumstance. And when you settle for survival, you shrink the vision I placed inside you. You lower the standard of what you believe is possible. You accept less, not because you want less, but because you are tired. I see the tiredness, and I am calling you out of it. Survival mode narrows your focus. It trains you to think short-term, to choose relief over alignment, to ask, what gets me through today, instead of what leads me into life. It keeps you reactive instead of intentional, defensive instead of discerning. You were not designed to live braced for impact. You were designed to walk upright, aware, guided, free. Survival mode tells you to tolerate what should be confronted. Purpose calls you to address what threatens your peace. And I tell you now with love and authority, you are worth more than a life spent constantly recovering. You are capable of more than perpetual damage control. I am not minimizing the battles you fought. I am honoring them by telling you they do not get the final word. Endurance was necessary for a season, but endurance is not your destination. Purpose is. My child, the reason this warning has carried such urgency is because survival will keep you alive, but obedience will make you whole. And wholeness is what I want for you. Not a patched-together peace, not a fragile stability, but a life ordered by truth and anchored in trust. You were created to thrive, not in arrogance, not without struggle, but with alignment. The path I am calling you back to does not just spare you from tragedy, it leads you into fullness. Stay with me. Because the final truths I will speak are not warnings. They are invitations. Invitations into hope, into restoration, into a future still very much alive. My beloved child, I need you to understand this truth at the deepest level of your soul. This warning is proof of my love, not evidence of disappointment, not a sign of rejection, not a declaration that you have failed me. Warnings do not come from distance, they come from closeness. Silence comes when someone no longer cares. Intervention comes when love refuses to look away. If I were indifferent to you, I would let you keep walking without interruption. If your future did not matter to me, I would allow momentum to have its way. But I have stepped into your path because you are precious to me beyond what you comprehend. I see your life not as a collection of mistakes or decisions, but as a sacred trust. I see the dreams you once carried clearly. I see the prayers you whispered when your heart was softer and your faith less burdened. I see the version of you that believed more freely, hoped more boldly, trusted more deeply. That version of you has not disappeared. It had been waiting beneath layers of fatigue, disappointment, and compromise. This warning is me reaching past those layers, touching what still belongs to me, and saying, I am not finished with you. Love that protects speaks before loss arrives. Love that cherishes intervenes before damage is done. Love that commits refuses to stay quiet when danger approaches. That is the kind of love speaking to you now. You must let go of the idea that correction equals condemnation. The world corrects to control, but I correct to restore. The world exposes to shame, but I expose to heal. The world walks away when things get complicated, but I lean in. I have not brought these truths to you to accuse you. I have brought them to reclaim you. There is a tenderness behind this firmness, a devotion behind this urgency. I am not measuring you by your weakest moments. I am guarding you because of your strongest potential. If you could see what I see, if you could glimpse the future that is still possible for you, you would understand why I am so insistent, so patient, so unwilling to let you drift. I am not afraid of your struggle. I am not shocked by your hesitation. I am not offended by your fear. I am moved by it. And because I am moved, I speak. Love does not always whisper. Sometimes love must raise its voice, not to frighten, but to be heard over the noise pulling you away from truth. My child, let this settle your heart and dismantle every lie that has tried to twist my intentions. If I did not love you deeply, I would not be here speaking this clearly. I would not pursue you through resistance. I would not repeat myself with patience. I would not wait for your response. This warning is not the end of something good. It is the protection of something sacred. It is love standing between you and unnecessary pain. It is love saying, I still see you. I still choose you. I still care where you end up. Do not harden your heart against love simply because love is firm today. Let it do what it was sent to do. Stay with me now, because the final truth I will speak is not a warning at all. It is an invitation into life, into safety, into a future rescued before tragedy could claim it. My precious child, this is where everything comes together. This is where warning turns into invitation, urgency turns into hope, and clarity turns into life. Listen now, and live. Not merely exist, not merely survive. Live with peace in your spirit, clarity in your mind, and alignment in your steps. I am not calling you to fear what might happen if you ignore me. I am calling you to step into what will happen if you listen. Life is not found in avoidance or delay. Life is found in response. The life I am offering you is not distant, not abstract, not reserved for some future version of you who has everything figured out. It is available now, in this moment, through one honest decision to trust me more than your momentum. I am not asking you to be fearless. I am asking you to be willing. Willing to stop. Willing to turn. Willing to say, Father, lead me. That willingness is enough to change everything. Heaven responds to willingness. Grace rushes toward humility. Life flows where obedience opens the door. I know part of you is still trembling, not because you doubt me, but because change feels vulnerable. Listening now means letting go of excuses. It means releasing control. It means stepping forward without guarantees you can see. But hear me clearly, my child. You are not stepping into the unknown alone. I am already there. I am not asking you to leap into darkness. I am asking you to walk into light. The light may feel bright after a season of dimness, but it heals what darkness numbed. Listening now means choosing life over pride, peace over comfort, truth over familiarity. It means allowing me to rescue you before rescue becomes necessary. You do not need to understand every consequence to avoid them. You only need to trust the one who sees them clearly. I have been faithful to you in every season, even the ones where you questioned me. I will be faithful to you now. Listening now does not shrink your life, it expands it. It does not limit your freedom, it secures it. So come, my child. Choose life. Choose alignment. Choose to listen while your heart is still soft and your future still open. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are not beyond rescue. You are exactly where grace meets decision. This is not the end of your story. It is the moment your story changes direction. I am not standing over you with judgment. I am standing beside you with my hand extended. Take it. Walk with me. Let this moment mark the place where tragedy was avoided, peace was restored, and life was chosen. Listen now, and live. My precious child, you have been invited into life, and now I invite you to help others here before their moment passes. What you give here becomes manna for the hungry, light for the searching, and a lifeline for those standing at the edge of decision. I am speaking to you because your heart recognizes this is holy ground, and whoever refreshes others will himself be refreshed. This is how life multiplies, through willing hands and obedient hearts. By supporting this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, the link is in the video description, you help carry my call to choose life into countless homes and hearts. I will bless your giving with favor, protection, and an increase that overflows beyond you. Do not delay what grace has already prompted. Give now, choose life, release the seed, and walk with me as this story changes for many. My beloved child, do not let this moment pass in silence. If this word reached you, declare it. Type in the comments, I choose life. I turn back now. Let that declaration be your witness, your marker, your turning point before heaven and earth. Do not hide your response. Light grows stronger when it is spoken aloud. As you declare it, know this. I see you, I honor your choice, and I am already moving to protect what you just surrendered to me. And now, because you trusted me enough to speak, I must trust you enough to warn you. This is not fear. This is foresight. What you feel stirring is not imagination. It is intervention arriving just in time. Stay still with me, because the one who honors your surrender now steps in to stop you before harm reaches you. My child, I need you to stop. I need you to be still right now and listen to my voice, because I am trying to save you from a tragedy you cannot yet see. You have been moving so fast, haven't you? You have been running from one task to the next, fueled by the pressure of your job and the heavy weight of your bills. I see the way you wake up with your heart already racing. I see the way you check your phone before you even say hello to the morning. You feel a sudden unrest in your spirit, a nagging sense that something isn't right, yet you try to push it down. You tell yourself it is just stress. You tell yourself you are just tired. But I am telling you today that unrest is not your enemy. It is my signal. It is my holy warning light flashing in the dark corridors of your soul. I am your Father, and I am personally involved in every second of your life. I am not a distant God watching from a throne of clouds. I am right here, sitting in the room with you, watching the knot in your stomach tighten. Stop what you are doing. Breathe. Can you feel my presence wrapping around you like a warm blanket on a cold night? I need you to distinguish between the frantic, noisy anxiety of the world and the deep, heavy check I am placing in your spirit. Worldly anxiety is a mountain of homework that never ends, a million tasks that shout for your attention. But my warning is different. My warning is a still, small voice that commands a halt. It is a divine interruption. I am allowing you to feel the weight of what is coming because I love you too much to let you walk blindly into a snare. You might be asking me, Lord, why do I feel so unsettled? Why can't I just have peace? My beloved, I am giving you this unrest as a gift. I am letting you feel a shadow of the danger so that you will seek the light. Think of it as a short, sharp shock to your system, designed to wake you up before you step off the cliff. In my eternal timeline, the present moment is urgent. There is a tragedy being prepared by the enemy, a hidden trap designed to break your heart and ruin your future. I see the big tragedy that is lurking just around the corner, the one you think you can handle, but you cannot. I am your shepherd, and I see the wolf in the tall grass while you are only looking at the green pasture. I command you to cease all movement. Stop the striving. Stop the planning. Stop trying to fix things with your own hands. Your first step to safety is total silence. I want you to sit in this quietness with me. I know it feels uncomfortable. I know you feel like you are falling behind. But I am the God of time, and I am telling you that a delay with me is better than a disaster without me. You are precious to me. You are my child, and I am not going to let you be destroyed. I am moving behind the scenes to redirect your path, but I can only lead you if you are willing to stand still. I promise you that I am working for your good. I am your fortress, your high tower, and your hiding place. When you feel that internal hesitation, do not override it. Do not let the world's hurry drown out my way. I see your fear of the future, and I am telling you right now, I am already there, and I am clearing the way. Your safety is found in your proximity to me. I am your shield. I am your protector. Close your eyes. Do you hear it? It is the sound of my love, calling you to stay close. Trust me. I have never failed you, and I am not starting now. I am saving you, my child. Just listen. My child, I need you to look deeper, past what your physical eyes can see. I am trying to show you that not every open path is a safe path. You have been looking at certain opportunities with longing, haven't you? You see a promotion, a new relationship, or a quick way out of your financial struggle, and you think, this must be the answer. But I am your Father, and I see the hidden snare buried beneath the bait. I see the enemy's subtle traps, those clever, thin wires stretched across your path that are designed to trip you just when you think you are winning. You are fighting a spiritual battle, not just a physical one, and the tragedy I am saving you from often starts as something that looks like a blessing. I need you to understand that a blessing becomes a tragedy when it is taken outside of my timing. If you grab for something I have not yet handed to you, You are picking up a weight that will eventually crush you. I want you to recognize the difference between a closed door and a redirected heart. Sometimes I close a door so firmly that it hurts your pride, but I am doing it because there is a fire on the other side of that room. You feel the sting of rejection, but I am offering you the grace of protection. I am keeping certain details hidden from you right now for your own safety. If I showed you the full scale of the spiritual war surrounding your current decision, your heart would fail you for fear. So instead, I ask you to trust the shepherd even when the valley looks pitch black. You do not need to see the snare to believe me when I tell you to step back. I am using high-impact interventions to wake you up. I am using that sudden no or that unexpected delay to bypass an ambush the enemy has set for your soul. Identify the areas where you are rushing. Are you pushing for a result because you are afraid of what people will think? That is a snare of pride. Are you holding on to a habit because it numbs your pain? That is a snare of addiction. I am here to cut those strings. I command you to look at your life through my word. My word is the light that reveals the traps. I invite you to lay down your mountain of homework and your endless million worries and just look at me. You are like a Ferrari driving with the handbrake on. You have so much potential, but these hidden attachments are holding you back and burning out your engine. I want you to be free. I want you to walk on a path that is clear and solid. Trust me when I tell you that my no is actually a shield. I am protecting your future peace by disrupting your present plans. You cannot see the reception at the end of this journey, but I can, and I am making sure it is fantastic, not a disaster. I am your God, and I do not make mistakes. I am not being cruel when I stop you. I am being a savior. I am your defense. I am your rock. Stand behind me and let me clear the way. I will guide you past the snares, and I will lead you into a spacious place where the enemy cannot reach you. My beloved, I need you to rethink the way you view your setbacks. You often see an interruption as a failure or a sign that I have forgotten you. But I am telling you today that my sovereign right to disrupt your life is my greatest act of love toward you. I am personally intervening in your schedule because your well-laid plans were leading you straight into a storm that would have broken you. I want you to start viewing these moments as miraculous intersections. When your car wouldn't start, when the meeting was canceled, when the person you relied on walked away, I was there. I am the one who caused the short, sharp shock to your routine to keep you from a much larger tragedy. I am the God of the detour, and my detours are always shortcuts to safety. I want you to find the beauty in my no. It is a no that saves your soul from years of sorrow. You might be crying over a lost opportunity today, but in 10 years, you will look back and realize that if I had said yes, you would have lost your peace, your family, or your faith. I use my perfect timing to bypass the enemy's ambush. The enemy is a predator who waits at the crossroads of your ambition, but I am the Spirit of truth who leads you around the danger. Relinquish your timeline to my infinite wisdom. You are trying to live by a calendar, but I am leading you by a covenant. Your time is in my hands, and my hands are not shaking. I command you to give thanks right now for the disasters that never happened. Think about that for a moment. You have no idea how many times I have deflected 1,000,000 arrows meant for your heart. You have no idea how many times I have sent angels to stand in the gap when you were too tired to pray. I want you to shift your perspective. Stop mourning what was interrupted and start celebrating what was preserved. I am the one who gives you credibility, likability, and affinity in the right circles, and I am the one who removes you from the wrong ones for your protection. I invite you to surrender your frustration to me. Do not let bitterness take root because things didn't go your way. My ways are higher than your ways. I am building something in you that is memorable and distinctive. I am not just trying to get you to a destination. I am trying to keep you whole while you get there. I am your father, and I am guiding your every step. When I say stop, it is because I love you. When I say wait, it is because I am preparing something better. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of the world falling off your shoulders. You don't have to force the doors open anymore. I am the one who holds the keys, and I am opening the right ones at the perfect time. My child, I want to sharpen your spiritual side today. I am calling you to be alert, for not everyone who smiles at you has your best interests at heart. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of betrayal and the pain of misplaced trust. There are influences in your life right now, perhaps people you consider friends or voices you listen to online, that are slowly leading you away from my light. They speak with flattering words, but their intent is hollow. They offer you childlike puns and humor that seem safe. But underneath, there is an ambiguity that mocks the truth. I am giving you the gift of discernment as a shield against this deception. I want you to look past the fantastic reception they give you and look at the fruit of their lives. I want you to understand why I have been removing certain people from your inner circle. It wasn't a loss. It was a cleaning. I saw the conversations they had when you weren't in the room. I saw the way their influence was beginning to dim your passion for me. I am protecting your heart by creating a necessary distance. Do not try to bridge a gap that I have purposefully created. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a season, and if you try to keep them for a lifetime, they will become a weight that sinks your ship. I am your true friend, and I will never lead you into a ditch. I command you to pray for the eyes to see the reality behind the masks. Do not be fooled by outward appearance or likability. I want you to look for credibility in their spirit. Are they encouraging you to be more like me, or are they feeding your ego and your million exaggerations? I invite you to seek my word as your standard for truth. My word is a sharp sword that divides the soul and the spirit. It will show you who is truly for you and who is just using you for their own success. I promise to surround you with godly counsel and people who will speak the truth in love. I am your protector, and I will not let you be devoured by wolves. I am placing a wall of fire around your heart. When you feel a check in your spirit about a person, do not ignore it. That is my voice whispering, be careful. Trust that whisper. It is more reliable than any human logic. I am your shepherd, and I know who belongs in my fold. Stay close to me, and you will never be led astray. I am giving you the wisdom to see the truth, the courage to walk away from deception, and the peace of knowing you are safe in my hands. My beloved, I am calling you into the secret place. In a world that is constantly shouting, your greatest weapon against tragedy is your silence. You have been trying to solve your problems by talking more, by planning more, and by searching for answers in the noise of the world. But I am telling you, my child, I speak loudest when the world is finally quiet. I want you to block out the mountain of noise and the million distractions that are cluttering your mind. I want you to retreat into a space where it is just you and me. This is not a luxury. It is your armor. It is in the stillness that I will give you the instructions you need to avoid the big tragedy that is brewing. I want you to find strength in stillness rather than frantic striving. You think that by moving faster, you are getting safer, but you are actually becoming more vulnerable. When you are frantic, you make mistakes. When you are rushing, you miss the signs I have placed along the road. Silence is where I calibrate your spirit. It is where I replace your short, sharp shock of fear with my peace that surpasses understanding. I want you to imagine yourself sitting with me, away from the cold, dark cellar of your worries. Feel the warmth of my presence. This quietness is a defensive wall that the enemy cannot penetrate. He thrives on your confusion and your noise, but he is powerless against a soul that is resting in me. I command you to set aside time for solitude. This is an invitation to transformation. Do not be afraid of the quiet. You are not alone in the silence. You are with the Creator of the universe. I am here to explain the things that have been confusing you and to grab your attention for what really matters. I want to show you visuals of your future that are filled with hope and purpose, not the fantasy of your fears. I am your Father, and I want to whisper the secrets of my heart into yours. I promise that when you make space for me, I will fill it with my power. You will emerge from the silence with a clarity that the world cannot give. You will have the wit and understanding to navigate the complexities of your life with ease. I am your hiding place. I am your shield. Let the world's reception fade away and listen only for my voice. I am calling you deeper. I am calling you higher. Come away with me for a while. Let me restore your soul and give you the strategy for your victory. Your peace is my priority, and your silence is your strength. My child, do not turn away now, for we have only just entered the secret place together. It would deeply grieve my heart if you were to walk back into the noise just as I am preparing to whisper the specific blueprint of your rescue. If you leave this conversation now, you risk stepping back into the cold, dark cellar of your own understanding, missing the very light I am pouring out to save you from impending sorrow. I am personally involved in this moment, and I am asking you to honor me with your presence for a little longer. Do not let the enemy's distractions rob us of this holy connection. Stay with me, for your survival depends on the instructions I have yet to reveal. My child, there are things you are holding on to that are secretly destroying you. I am being direct with you because I love you too much to watch you stay in a place that has become a cold, dark cellar for your soul. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of staying in a situation or a habit that I have already told you to leave. You have developed unholy attachments, connections to people, habits, and ways of thinking that are like a mountain of weight on your back. These attachments are the little foxes that are spoiling the vine of your life. I am calling you to sever these ties today. It is time to let go of what is good in your own eyes so that I can give you what is holy in mine. I want you to understand the power of my purifying fire. My fire does not come to consume you. It comes to consume the chains that are binding you. I see the tragedy of the partial obedience you have been offering me. You have given me your Sundays, but you have kept your secrets. You have given me your public life, but you have kept your private addictions. I am telling you, this compromise is a bridge to your own destruction. I want you to have the courage to walk away from the edge of the abyss. Whether it is a relationship that drains your spirit or a habit that clouds your mind, I am giving you the power to break free right now. I command you to choose freedom. Do not look back at what you are leaving behind. Remember the wife of Lot. Do not let your heart stay attached to the terrible wedding of your past mistakes. I am doing a new thing. I am creating a memorable transformation in your life. But you must be willing to drop the old baggage. I invite you to surrender every hidden thing to me. My grace is sufficient for you, and my strength is made perfect in your weakness. I am your deliverer. I am the one who snaps the iron bars and opens the prison doors. I promise you that the freedom you find in me is better than any success the world can offer. When you let go of these unholy attachments, you will finally feel the lightness of my spirit. You will no longer be the Ferrari with the handbrake on. You will move with the speed and the grace that I intended for you. I am your God, and I am leading you out of the land of slavery and into the land of promise. Walk with me. Trust me. The big tragedy is being avoided because you are finally choosing to be mine, and mine alone. I love you with an everlasting love, and I will never let you go. My beloved child, I want you to see that I have already provided the map for your safety. In a world that feels like a vast, unpredictable wilderness, I have not left you to wander without a guide. I want you to understand that the boundaries I have set for you in my word are not chains to bind you, but safety rails to protect you from the cliff's edge. You often look at my commandments and feel restricted, but I am telling you today that they are the walls of a mighty fortress. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of thinking you know a better way than the one I have carved out for you through the ages. When you step outside of my instructions, you aren't finding freedom. You are walking into a minefield without a metal detector. I am your Father, and I set these boundaries because I know where the danger is buried. I want you to realize that my word acts as a shield for your mind. You are bombarded every day by a million voices telling you how to live, how to spend your money, and how to define your worth. These voices create a mountain of confusion that leads to poor choices and, eventually, a big tragedy. But I have given you specific scriptures to use as high-impact armor. When the enemy whispers that you are not enough, my word shouts that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. When the world tells you to hurry and grab what you can, my word reminds you to wait upon the Lord. I am inviting you to map out your safe path by looking at the ancient paths of righteousness. Following the pillar of cloud and fire is not just for the Israelites of old, it is for you. Right now, in your daily life. It is the practice of asking me, is this the way? Before you take a single step, I command you to dwell in the secret place of the Most High. This is not a physical location, but a state of heart. It is the security of knowing that because you stay close to me, the arrows that fly by day and the pestilence that stalks in the darkness cannot touch your core. I am your refuge. I am your strength. I am your very present help in trouble. Do you see how simple it is? You do not have to build your own protection. You do not have to hire a million guards for your heart. You simply have to stay within the blueprint I have already drawn. Every time you choose to obey a small instruction, you are reinforcing the walls of your fortress. Every time you choose my truth over a worldly lie, you are closing a gate that the enemy was hoping to use. I promise you that as you follow my blueprint, you will walk with a confidence that others cannot understand. You will have a credibility and a steadfastness that draws others to the light. I am your architect, and I am building your life on the rock. Storms will come. I have never said they wouldn't, but they will not break you because your foundation is secure. Trust the boundaries I have set. They are the evidence of my deep, personal love for you. I am not trying to take away your fun. I am trying to keep you alive and whole so that you can experience the fullness of joy that only I can provide. Let my word be the lamp under your feet and the light under your path today. My child, have you ever felt that sudden, sharp hesitation in the middle of a conversation or a business deal? You were about to sign the paper, or you were about to say yes to that date, and suddenly, you felt a knot in your stomach that you couldn't explain. I am telling you right now, that was me. That internal hesitation is a direct signal from my spirit. It is the still, small voice trying to grab your attention before you commit to something that will lead to a big tragedy. I am your Father, and I am trying to save you from the short, sharp shock of a disaster by giving you a gentle nudge in your spirit first. You must never, ever override the peace I have withdrawn. If the peace is gone, do not move. If the check is there, stay still. I want you to understand the danger of rushing where I have not gone before you. The world is constantly screaming, hurry. It tells you that if you don't act now, you will miss out. But I am the God of eternity, And I am telling you that what is meant for you will never be lost because you chose to wait for my peace. I want you to look at the tragedy of Ishmael versus the blessing of Isaac. Abraham tried to force a promise because he was tired of waiting, and it created a conflict that lasted for generations. I do not want that for you. I do not want you to give birth to an Ishmael, a plan born of your own striving and impatience. I want you to wait for the Isaac, the miracle that comes through my power and in my perfect timing. I command you to cultivate a sensitivity to the Holy Spirit's nudging. This requires you to turn down the volume of your own desires and your own million explanations for why you should move forward. I invite you to stop and ask me, Lord, why is my heart unsettled? I will show you the dual understanding of the situation, the way it looks to the world and the way it actually is in the spirit. You might see a fantastic reception, but I see a terrible wedding of your life to a situation that will cause you pain. I am giving you the wit and understanding to know the difference. I promise to reward your obedience with a peace that surpasses all understanding. When you choose to wait on me, you are not being passive, you are being powerful. You are demonstrating that your trust in me is greater than your fear of missing out. I am your shepherd, and I lead you by still waters. If the waters are troubled, it is not the place I have for you yet. Learn to value my peace more than your progress. I am your God, and I am navigating you through the fog. Listen for the check. Honor the hesitation. It is my hand on your shoulder, keeping you safe from the edge. My beloved, you have no idea how many storms have been diverted from your life because of the prayers of the faithful. I want to open your eyes to the unseen war being fought on your behalf. There are times when you are sleeping, or when you are simply too overwhelmed to pray for yourself, and I prompt a friend, a mother, or a stranger halfway across the world to fall to their knees for you. This very hour, I am stirring spirits to intercede for your protection. This is the power of my body, the church. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of thinking you are in this alone. You are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses and a hedge of protection that has been built brick by brick through the prayers of those who love you. I want you to see the near misses in your life not as luck, but as evidence of my hand in the prayers of others. That car that almost hit you, the illness that didn't take hold, the temptation that suddenly lost its power. Those were moments where intercession broke the enemy's momentum. I have stationed unseen angels at the four corners of your life. They are visually retentive to my commands, and they move with high impact to explain my authority to the powers of darkness. But I am also calling you to your role. I want you to join in the work of praying for your own hedge of protection. Do not be toothless in your spiritual life. Use the authority I have given you to declare my promises over your household. I command you to honor the legacy of prayer that has been poured out over your life. Perhaps you had a praying mother or a grandfather who stood in the gap for you long before you were even born. Those prayers are still active in my presence. They have created a reception of grace that you are walking in today. I invite you to become an intercessor yourself. When I place someone on your heart, do not ignore it. You might be the one I am using to divert a tragedy in their life. This is the beauty of my kingdom. We are all connected in a web of divine care. I promise you that as you pray and receive prayer, you will feel a shift in the spiritual atmosphere around you. The mountain of your problems will begin to look like a small hill. A million worries will start to fade. I am your shield, and I am the one who answers prayer. I am not deaf to the cries of my children. Every Lord, help them, and every Father, protect her is heard and acted upon. Rest in the knowledge that you are being covered right now. You are safe because I am faithful, and I have called an army to stand with you. My child, we need to have a very honest conversation about your heart. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of reaching the top of a mountain only to realize you climbed the wrong one. I see your ambition, and I see the way your ego can sometimes blind you to the cliff's edge. You want to be memorable, you want to have impact, and you want the world to see your success. But if your tower is built without me as the cornerstone, it will inevitably collapse. Pride is a weight that makes you heavy and slow. It is the handbrake on your spiritual Ferrari. It makes you self-limiting and prone to self-doubt because you are trying to carry the world on your own shoulders. I want you to understand that my stop is an act of supreme mercy. When I hinder your prideful plans, it is because I am protecting you from the fall that always follows pride. You are so focused on the one message of your own success that you are missing the a lot of topics I want to teach you about humility and grace. I want you to find contentment in the shade of my wings rather than the spotlight of the world. Humbling yourself is not about thinking less of yourself. It is about thinking of yourself less and thinking of me more. When you are small in your own eyes, I can do big things through you. I command you to relinquish the need to be seen and understood by everyone. I invite you to let me lead while you follow as a trusting child. Stop trying to exaggerate your accomplishments to gain credibility. You don't need to tell a million stories to prove your worth to me. Your value is found in your identity as my child, not in your list of achievements. I want you to be like the fruit flies that appreciate the sweetness of the banana. Find joy in the simple, humble things I have given you. I promise that if you humble yourself, I will exalt you in due time. But my exaltation looks different than the world's. It is a promotion into more peace, more purpose, and more intimacy with me. I am your Father, and I want you to be whole, not just famous. I want you to be holy, not just successful. Let go of the prideful ambition that is keeping you awake at night. Lay down the mountain of homework you've created by trying to impress people who don't even know the real you. Come to me and let me give you rest. I am your cornerstone. Build your life on me, and you will never be shaken. My beloved, I see you reaching for the exit, but I am pleading with you to stay, for my spirit is heavy with the things I still must show you. It would be a tragedy beyond words if you mastered your pride but remained blind to the hidden snares still waiting for your feet. I have told you a million times how much I love you, and it is that very love that compels me to keep you here until your healing is complete. To stop now would be to leave the work of my hands unfinished, and it would disappoint my heart to see you walk away from the full restoration I am offering. Do not ignore the short, sharp shock of this warning. Your destiny is too precious for you to wander off now. My child, now that you have shed the self-limiting weight of prideful ambition and chosen to find contentment in the shade of my wings, I am inviting you to move with high-impact purpose. Just as I am saving you from the big tragedy of a hollow life, I am calling you to become a visual channel of my rescue for others who are still shivering in the dark. Your support through Super Thanks or PayPal is not a mere transaction. It is the specific act of sowing holy seed into a harvest that will feed 1 million hungry souls. I declare over you that as you honor me with your substance, I will open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing so measurable that you cannot contain it. I am your provider, and as you help spread this memorable word, I will ensure your own storehouse never runs dry. This is your divine appointment to turn your resources into a river of life. Go now to the link in the description or use Super Thanks and command your seed to bring forth a fantastic reception of my glory. My precious one, I want to reach into the deep places of your heart today. I see the wounds you carry, the ones from your childhood, the ones from that terrible wedding of a past relationship, and the ones you've inflicted on yourself. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of letting your past trauma dictate your future. When you carry unhealed wounds, they act like scales over your eyes. They blind you to my goodness and make you vulnerable to the enemy's traps. You react out of pain instead of responding in faith. You see danger where there is only love, and you see success where there is only a snare. I am here to heal your eyes so you can see clearly. I want to remove the bitterness that has clouded your judgment. Bitterness is a dual understanding that only focuses on the hurt and ignores the healer. It makes you toothless against the enemy because you are too busy biting yourself. Forgiveness is not a suggestion. It is a prerequisite for your spiritual safety. When you hold on to a grudge, you are staying trapped in a cold, dark cellar, shivering in the dark. I am calling you up into the light. I want to restore the joy of your salvation to you, for that joy is your strength. A joyful heart is a fortress that the enemy cannot easily breach. I command you to bring your wounds to me. Do not try to hide them under a million exaggerations of being fine. I invite you to be honest with me in the secret place. Let my love wash over the shivering parts of your soul. I am the great physician, and I have the affinity and the power to make you whole again. This wholeness is required for you to navigate the narrow path. You cannot walk the path of destiny while you are limping from the past. I am here to give you a new walk and a new song. I promise to make you like a Ferrari with the handbrake finally released. As you heal, you will find that your credibility, likability, and affinity come from a place of genuine peace, not a performance. You will no longer be your own worst enemy. I am your healer. I am your restorer. Let me touch the places that hurt. Let me wipe away the tears you've cried in the middle of the night. I am saving you from the tragedy of a wasted life by giving you a healed heart. You are my beloved, and in my presence, you are made new. My child, I want you to understand that my timing is a weapon I use for your protection. You have been frustrated by the doors that won't open, haven't you? You feel as though life is passing you by while you sit in a waiting room that feels like a cold, dark cellar. But I am telling you today that waiting is often my most powerful saving act. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of reaching a destination before you are ready to handle the weight of the responsibility. If I gave you the reception you are craving right now, the wedding would be terrible because your character hasn't yet caught up to your calling. I am never late. I am perfectly timed. I am the God who sees the end from the beginning, and I know that if you run ahead of my presence, you are running into an ambush. I want you to find the purpose in the pause I have mandated. This is not wasted time, it is training time. I am using this waiting room to build your spiritual endurance and your credibility. Just like lyrics in a song become more embedded through repetition, I am repeating certain lessons in your life right now so they become a permanent part of who you are. I am strengthening your heart so that when the breakthrough comes, it doesn't break you. You see a delay. I see a divine interruption that is keeping you from a collision. I am the one who checks your speed so that you don't crash at the finish line. I command you to stop the frantic striving. You are like a Ferrari driving with the handbrake on, burning out your engine because you are trying to force a success that isn't ready for you yet. I invite you to release the brake. Surrender your calendar to me. I want you to sit in my presence and imagine the peace I have for you. This pause is a short, sharp shock to your ego, but it is life to your soul. It is better to wait in the shade of my wings than to burn up in a spotlight you weren't meant to stand in yet. I promise you that what is truly meant for you will never pass you by. I am your Father, and I am not a God of confusion or ambiguity. When the time is right, I will make the path so clear that you won't even have to wonder. I am your shepherd, and I lead you at a pace that is sustainable. Rest assured, your Isaac is coming, but he must be born of my spirit, not your Ishmael effort. Trust the strategy of my delay. I am saving you from the tragedy of a premature birth of a dream that would only lead to sorrow. Stand still and see the salvation of your God. My beloved, I want to speak to you about the walls of your home. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of an unguarded household. You are the spiritual gatekeeper of your dwelling place, and I am calling you to be alert. I have promised to be a wall of fire around your family, but I am asking you to walk in the authority and intelligence I have given you. I want you to identify if there is an Achan in the camp, any habit, object, or influence you have allowed through your door that invites trouble into your sanctuary. Your home should be a fortress, not a reception for the enemy's lies. I want you to consecrate your living space to my service. Just as the ancients put the blood of the lamb over their doorposts to turn away the destroyer, I want you to cover your family in my promises. Use high-impact language when you pray over your children and your spouse. Do not use exaggerations of fear, but declarations of my truth. I am your protector, and I want your home to be a place where my peace is measurable and specific. I am giving you the blueprint of protection, but you must be the one to apply it daily. I command you to teach your children to recognize my protective voice. Do not just give them rules, give them a personal relationship with me. Use visuals and metaphors to explain my love to them so that it sticks in their listener's memory. Be the example of someone who follows the pillar of cloud rather than the arrows of the world. I invite you to lead your household in solitude and silence before me, teaching them that our strength is not in our striving, but in our surrender. I promise you that as you honor me in your home, I will honor you with my presence. I will be the security that the world cannot provide. I will protect your marriage from the terrible weddings of conflict and lead you into a fantastic reception of unity. I am your God, and I care about every detail of your family life. Do not let the little foxes of bitterness or unholy attachments spoil the vine of your domestic peace. I am your wall of fire. Stay within my boundaries, and your household will be a light in a dark world. My child, I see the waves crashing against your boat. I know that you are facing trials you did not ask for and storms you did not create. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of losing your faith in the middle of a miracle. You feel like you are trapped in a cold, dark cellar with the wind howling outside. But I am telling you, I am in the eye of the hurricane with you. I allow the wind to blow, but I will not allow it to break you. This storm is not your destruction. It is the refiner's fire that is proving the strength I have already placed inside you. I want you to stop reacting in fear and start responding in faith. When the world is screaming disaster, I want you to speak peace. Be still. Your words have impact. Use the contrast between the chaos of the storm and the calm of my spirit to anchor your soul. You are more than a victim of circumstances. You are a victor in my name. I am using this trial to reveal that you are not just a Ferrari for show, but a powerful vehicle built for the toughest terrain. The reception of my grace is never more fantastic than when the external world is at its worst. I command you to trust my voice over the sound of the waves. Do not lean on your own dual understanding of the situation. I invite you to find the humor in the enemy's attempts to drown you, knowing that I have already won the victory. You are safe in my embrace. I am the one who walks on the water to get to you. Close your eyes and imagine my hand reaching out to you right now. Feel the shivering stop as my warmth surrounds you. I promise that even the winds and the waves obey my voice. I am your captain, and I am navigating you to a measurable and time-framed deliverance. You will come out of this storm with credibility and a storytelling power that will help others find their way. I am your God, and I am not letting you sink. The tragedy you fear is being swallowed up by the triumph of my grace. Stay focused on me, and we will walk through the waves together. My beloved, I want to give you a specific kind of wisdom for the days ahead. I am calling you to be a modern-day Joseph, one who prepares in the season of plenty for the season of lean. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of spiritual and physical famine. You see the world's mountain of homework and its frantic striving, but I am calling you to a smart way of living. I want you to be specific in your stewardship, measurable in your growth, achievable in your goals, relevant in your focus, and time-framed in your actions. I want you to use the resources I have given you with a sober mind. Do not be exaggerated in your spending or ambiguous in your priorities. I am giving you the intelligence to discern the signs of the times. Just as Joseph stored up rain in Egypt, I want you to store up my word in your heart. When the cold, dark cellar moments come to the world, you will be a light and a provider because you listen to my instructions in the quiet. I am your provider, and I am teaching you how to manage the million blessings I want to pour out on you. I command you to shed the prideful ambition of trying to look successful to the world. True success is found in being prepared to do my will. I invite you to be visual about your future. See yourself not just surviving, but thriving and helping others. Use the contrast of your peace against the world's panic to point people to me. You are my steward, and I am giving you the blueprint for divine security. I promise that as you follow my wisdom, you will never lack what you truly need. I am your Jehovah Jireh, and I am perfectly timed. I am saving you from the tragedy of being trapped by the world's economic or spiritual collapses. You are my Joseph, and I am exalting you for such a time as this. Use your wit and understanding to build a storehouse of grace. I am your God, and I am leading you into a land of fantastic reception and abundance. Listen closely, for the air is thick with the urgency of the times, and I am calling you deeper into my wisdom. It would break my heart to see you prepare your household only to leave the portals of your own soul wide open to the enemy's attack. I am your Father, and I am offering you the intelligence of heaven. Do not insult this divine gift by choosing the world's fantasy over my reality. If you cease your listening now, you are choosing to navigate the cunning storms without the shield I am holding out to you. Stay close to my voice, for the next few moments are vital to the security of everything you hold dear. My child, we must address the little foxes that are spoiling your vine. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of a slow collapse caused by a million small compromises. You have been guarding the front door of your life, but you have left the windows open. I am talking about the soul-polluting media you consume, the ambiguous conversations you entertain, and the unholy attachments you keep in the dark corners of your heart. These are portals of vulnerability that allow the enemy to whisper exaggerations and lies into your spirit. I want you to identify the weak points in your spiritual character. Are you using humor to mask your pain or to make fun of others? Are you personalizing things that are meant to be let go? I am calling you to a short, sharp shock of daily repentance. This is not about shame, it is about protection. I want to keep your hedge intact. When you compromise, even in a small way, you are creating a dual understanding that the enemy can exploit. I am your Father, and I want you to be specific about your holiness. I command you to guard your eyes and your ears. Do not fill your mind with fantasy that leads you away from reality. I invite you to fill your visual space with my truth and your audio space with my word. Stay alert, for your adversary prowls like a lion, looking for a gap in your armor. I am your shield, but you must choose to stand behind me. Strengthen the weak points by repeating my promises until they are embedded in your soul. I promise that as you close these portals, you will feel a measurable increase in your peace and credibility. You will no longer feel like you are shivering in a cold, dark cellar of doubt. I am your God, and I am purifying you so that you can reflect my light with high impact. I am saving you from the tragedy of a terrible wedding to the world's values. You are mine, and I am making you holy and distinctive for my glory. My beloved child, I want you to know that you are never truly trapped. I see the walls closing in around you, and I hear the frantic beating of your heart as you face a temptation that feels like a mountain you cannot climb. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of choosing the fire when I have already provided the water of my spirit to quench the flames. My faithfulness is not a fantasy or a childlike story. It is a covenant guarantee that I will provide a way out of every trial you face. I am the God who parts the sea while the enemy follows close behind. I am the God who places an exit sign in the middle of your deepest struggle. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a participant in my rescue plan. I want you to recognize the exit sign I have placed in your current trial. Often, the escape route I provide is unusual and distinctive, requiring you to look past your own dual understanding of the situation. It may not be the exit you wanted, but it is the one that leads to life. I am your Father, and I use high-impact interventions to grab your attention when you are headed toward a cliff. Trust my rescue even when it feels unconventional, even when it looks like a short, sharp shot to your pride or your plans. My word serves as a lamp unto your feet, and it is in that specific light that the path of escape becomes visible. I command you to look for the way out right now. Do not fixate on the terrible nature of the problem, but focus on the fantastic nature of the solution I am preparing. I invite you to stop shivering in the fear of what might happen and start imagining the deliverance I am bringing. This is not a game of ambiguity where I am trying to hide the answer from you. I want to acknowledge your intelligent potential and show you the way to safety. When you feel the pressure to compromise, remember that I am your credibility and your shield. I promise you that I will never leave you to face a temptation that is beyond your strength. I am the God of the miraculous escape. I am saving you from the tragedy of a collapse by giving you the strength to walk through the parted waters. Your destiny is too great for me to let the enemy trap you in a cold, dark cellar of regret. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that I have already secured the reception at the end of this trial. I am your God, and I am your way out. My child, I want to talk to you about the power of your yes. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of partial obedience, the kind that follows me when it's easy but turns back when the path gets steep. You have been doing a lot of things for me, but I am looking for the one thing, a heart that does exactly what I said, when I said, and how I said it. Simple obedience is better than any sacrifice you could offer. It is the key that unlocks the gates of my protection and avoids the terrible outcomes of self-will. I am your Father, and my instructions are not meant to limit your joy, but to explain the path to true success. I want you to realize that your obedience is a measurable act of trust. When you follow my specific commands, you are building a fortress that makes your life memorable and distinctive. Think of it like the lyrics of a song. The more you repeat the act of following me, the more embedded and easy to remember my peace becomes in your soul. I am not playing puns with your life or using ambiguity to confuse you. I am giving you a smart blueprint for a life that has high impact. The tragedy of ruin is avoided when you choose to stay within the boundaries of my love. I command you to surrender your dual understanding and follow my one message. I invite you to do the hard things with a humorous and bright spirit, knowing that my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Do not exaggerate the difficulty of the task. Focus on the million benefits of staying in my will. Your yes is the visual evidence that you believe I am who I say I am. I promise you that the peace that follows a surrendered heart is fantastic. I am your God, and I am using your obedience to lead you away from the terrible weddings of the world and into a reception of my glory. I am saving you from the tragedy of striving in your own strength. When you obey me, You are not just following a rule, you are walking into a rescue. I am your shepherd, and I am leading you home. My beloved, I am calling you to a higher level of intelligence and wit. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of being led by a blind guide whose words are full of ambiguity and dual meanings. In this season, there are many voices that sound likable and have a high degree of affinity, but they lack credibility because they do not speak my truth. They use puns and humor to distract you from the one message that matters. I am calling you away from ears that itch for lies and fantasy. You must test every spirit against the specific and measurable truth of my word. I want you to understand that distractions are often disguised as good opportunities. They grab attention and help explain the world in a way that feels comfortable, but they lead you into a cold, dark cellar of spiritual famine. I am your Father, and I want you to seek my face instead of seeking signs and wonders that are completely unreal. The safety of your soul is found in the ancient paths of righteousness, the memorable and embedded truths that have stood the test of time. Do not be visually retentive to the world's exaggerations. Keep your eyes on the visuals of my kingdom. I command you to stay grounded in the truth while the world flies like an arrow into chaos. I invite you to use your wit and understanding to discern the ambiguity of those who would lead you astray. Do not let the dual understanding of the world pull you away from the one true light. I am your God, and I am your specific guide through the fog of deception. I promise that as you stay grounded in me, I will give you a credibility that others will notice. I am saving you from the tragedy of drifting away from the shore of my grace. You are my child, and I am giving you the intelligence to recognize my voice in the middle of a million noises. Stay close to me, and you will never be led into a terrible trap. I am your truth, and I am your safety. My child, I want you to see the high impact of the trials you are facing. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of a life that is never tested and never proven. Sometimes, what you perceive as a tragedy is actually my refiner's fire at work, purifying you so that the gold of your character can shine with credibility. I am the one who holds the times in the fire, and I am with you in the furnace, just as I was with the three. This process is not meant to damage you. It is meant to make you memorable and distinctive for my glory. I am taking away the dross of your exaggerations and unholy attachments to reveal the specific beauty of my image in you. I want you to understand that the heat you feel is a short, sharp shock designed to wake you up to your true potential. I am your Father, and I would never allow you to go through a fire that I am not prepared to walk through with you. The tragedy of a life that stays in the cold, dark cellar of mediocrity is far worse than the temporary discomfort of the flame. Trust the hand that is shaping you. I am using metaphors and visuals in your life to explain my power to a world that is shivering in fear. You will emerge from this heat not smelling like smoke, but with the fantastic fragrance of Christ. I command you to stand firm in the fire. Do not exaggerate the pain, but focus on the million ways I am strengthening you. I invite you to imagine the visual of the person you are becoming, someone who is measurable in faith and relevant in power. Do not let the ambiguity of the trial make you doubt my love. I am your God, and I am using this dual understanding of pain and purpose to bring about a fantastic outcome. I promise that you will emerge from the fire with a credibility that cannot be denied. I am saving you from the tragedy of a self-limiting life. You are like a Ferrari that is being tuned for a high-impact race. Trust the refiner. I am your God, and I am making you memorable for eternity. My child, we are standing in the heat of the refiner's fire, and I am watching the dross fall away from your beautiful spirit. Do not pull back now, for it would grieve me to see you emerge from this fire with only a partial victory. I have invested so much into this conversation, and I am asking you to give me your full attention as we approach the final strategy for your escape. To walk away now would be to settle for a terrible wedding to your past when the fantastic reception of your future is just seconds away. Honor the work I am doing in you. Stay with me until the very end, for my heart yearns to see you walk in total freedom. You have emerged from the refiner's fire with a credibility and a fragrance that is truly distinctive. And now I desire to use your refined life to ignite a fire in the hearts of the broken. It would be a terrible waste to keep this transformation to yourself when there are a million others trapped in the cold, dark cellar of despair. I am personally inviting you to fuel this mission of hope, for when you give through membership or donations, you are providing the oil for my lamp to shine in the deepest wilderness. I promise you that whatever you release into my hands, I will multiply with high impact, just as I did the loaves and the fish. You are my modern-day Joseph, and your generosity is the analogy of my love in action. I will protect your finances from the devourer and make your path achievable and bright. Act with prophetic urgency now by using super thanks with a link below to seal your rescue with a sacrifice of praise. My beloved, I am calling you to a specific realignment of your heart. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of gaining the world but losing your soul. You have been focused on a million things, your mountain of homework, your career, and your credibility in the eyes of others. But I am shifting your focus to the one thing that is measurable and eternal. True security is not found in things that can be shaken, but in the rock that is Christ. I am calling you to let go of the idols that offer a false sense of likability and affinity. When you put my kingdom first, everything else will fall into a fantastic order. I want you to understand that your priorities are a visual representation of what you truly value. If you are shivering in fear about your finances or your future, it is a sign that your priorities are out of alignment with my promise of provision. I am your Father, and I want you to find contentment in the shade of my wings rather than the exaggerated promises of the world. I am rebuilding your life on a foundation that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-framed. The tragedy of a collapse is avoided when you build on the truth. I command you to seek my face first. I invite you to repeat my word until it is embedded in your daily schedule. Do not let the ambiguity of the world's demands pull you away from my specific call on your life. I am your God, and I am your one source of true success. I promise that as you realign your life with me, you will experience a reception of peace that is fantastic. I am saving you from the tragedy of striving for things that do not satisfy. You are my child, and I am giving you a blueprint for a life that is memorable and distinctive. I am your God, and your safety is my one priority. My child, listen to me. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of reacting in blind panic when the world around you begins to scream in fear. I see the mountain of homework life has piled on your desk, and I hear the million voices shouting conflicting advice at you. In the middle of a crisis, the world's noise becomes an exaggeration of terror, but I am calling you to tune your ears to a different frequency. I am your Father, and I want to give you specific instructions for the heat of the moment. You must not lean on your own dual understanding or your limited human logic. The tragedy occurs when you move in frantic haste, but I am here to grab your attention and pull you into a sacred pause. I am giving you a short, sharp shock of clarity to wake you up from the nightmare of your own anxiety. I want you to understand that my voice is a visual guide even when you are trapped in a cold, dark cellar. You don't need your physical eyes to see the way out. You need to tap into the power of imagination and faith to perceive the path I have already paved. When the crisis hits, the ambiguity of the situation can make you feel shivering and alone, but my whisper is distinctive. It is the one message I want you to take away. Do you hear it? I am telling you to be still. I am telling you to wait. I am telling you that nothing succeeds like a heart that sucks seeds of my truth. Do not let the dual understanding of the world confuse you. My voice is memorable and high impact, and it will lead you to a fantastic reception of peace. I command you to cultivate a hearing heart through daily communion with me. This is not a childlike game. It is a matter of life and death. I invite you to repeat my promises until they are embedded in your soul. When the world says hurry, I want you to never give up on the pace I have set for you. The confidence you need in a crisis comes from knowing my voice intimately, like a child knows the affinity and likability of a parent's touch. I am your God, and I am speaking specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-frame peace into your chaos. I promise that I am perfectly timed in my responses. I am not a distant God using puns to mock your pain. I am personally involved. I am saving you from the tragedy of a terrible wedding to your own fears. When you listen to me, you are no longer a Ferrari driving with the handbrake on. You are a powerful force of faith, moving with credibility and impact. I am your God, and my whisper is your greatest weapon. Trust me. I'm right here, and I am guiding you through the storm to the fantastic reality I have prepared for you. My beloved, I want you to visualize the reality of your life. You are not just a person trying to survive a mountain of work. You are a prize in a cosmic, high-impact battle. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of missing the one message and the divine purpose for which I created you. Your life is distinctive, and because it is memorable, the enemy is working 1,000,000 times harder to distract you with ambiguity and dual meanings. But I am fighting for you even when you are shivering in sleep. I am the God who uses contrast to show you the difference between the terrible wedding of sin and the fantastic reception of my grace. I want you to recognize the weapons of our warfare. They are not completely unreal or childlike. They are specific and measurable. When the enemy tries to explain your life through the lens of your failures, I want you to use the alliteration of my truth. You are redeemed, restored, and resilient. I am pulling down the strongholds of self-doubt that make you feel like a Ferrari with the handbrake on. Your destiny is too memorable for me to let the enemy win. I have given you wit and understanding to see through his puns and dual understandings. You are standing on the victory already won at Calvary, a specific moment in time that changed everything. I command you to stand firm in my authority and my credibility. Do not exaggerate the power of the enemy. He is a toothless budgie compared to my glory. I invite you to personalize my promises. Say it with me. My God is for me, who can be against me? This is the high-impact language that shifts the atmosphere of your soul. I want you to be visually retentive of the crown I have for you. Do not let the ambiguity of your current struggles blind you to the fantastic reality of your future. I promise that your destiny is secure in my hands. I am your smart protector, and I am specific about your rescue. I am saving you from the tragedy of a life that is unusual for all the wrong reasons. Instead, I am making your life a metaphor of my strength and an analogy of my love. You are my child, and I am the God who never loses a battle. I have told you 1,000,000 times, I love you to the moon and back. Walk in that high-impact truth and watch the tragedy turn into a memorable triumph. My precious child, I am calling you to the reception of my rest. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of burnout, a terrible state where you become your own worst enemy because you are too tired to see the one message. You have been striving and shivering, trying to climb a mountain of homework in your own strength. But I am inviting you to pause now and breathe in my presence. Rest is not nothing. It is a specific act of faith that acts as a fortress against the enemy's tactics of fatigue. It gives you the credibility and likability that come from a soul that is restored and not frantic. I want you to see the physical and spiritual benefits of entering into my Sabbath peace. When you rest, you are telling the world that you are not a Ferrari with the handbrake on, but a child who trusts their father to keep the world spinning. I am your SMART goal: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-framed peace. This rest is memorable and high impact. It allows you to explain my goodness without saying a word. I am your hiding place, a visual reality of safety where the shivering stops and the transformation begins. I command you to block out the million noises and personalize your time with me. I invite you to find your identity in being my child, not in the mountain of your work. Do not exaggerate your importance by thinking you cannot take a day to rest. I am the one who gives succeeds its meaning. I am the one who makes time fly like an arrow. Find the humor and the wit in knowing that while you rest, I am still working a million miracles on your behalf. I promise that nothing succeeds like a soul that rests in me. I am saving you from the tragedy of poor choices made in exhaustion. I am restoring your soul and giving you a reception that is truly fantastic. You are safe in the shade of my wings, away from the cold, dark cellar of your own self-limiting beliefs. I am your God, and I am your rest. Let the dual understanding of the world fall away, and simply be with me. I am enough for you. My child, we have come to the reception of this conversation. I am reaching out my hand a million times to offer you one final, high-impact invitation. I am trying to save you from the tragedy of walking away from this message and returning to the cold, dark cellar of your old life. You have heard the alliteration of my love, the metaphors of my protection, and the specific blueprints I have for your future. Now, I am asking for your one thing: total surrender. This is the achievable goal that unlocks the fantastic reality I have for you. The terrible wedding to your fear is over. The triumph of my grace is beginning right now. I want you to commit your future, your million fears, and your very life to me. I am not an ambiguous God or an exaggeration of a story. I am your Father, and I am personally involved in your specific situation. You are safe in my grip. Do you feel the knot in your stomach undoing? That is the high-impact power of my spirit. I am giving you wit and understanding to see that nothing succeeds like a life that is time-framed by my will. The big tragedy is avoided not by your striving but by your surrender. You are no longer trapped. You are free. I command you to walk out of this message with a renewed spirit of hope. I invite you to never, never, never give up on the memorable path I have for you. I am your smart choice. I am the one message you must keep. Do not exaggerate the difficulty of the walk ahead. I am with you to the moon and back. I am the Ferrari engine in your soul, and I have released the handbrake of your past. You are distinctive, memorable, and precious. I promise that I will never leave you nor forsake you. This is my specific and measurable vow to you. I am your God, and I have saved you from the big tragedy that was meant to consume you. The reception is fantastic, the wedding is glorious, and the storytelling of your life is just beginning. Go in peace, my beloved child. You are high impact, you are memorable, and you are mine. As this divine conversation concludes and you walk away from the big tragedy into my total surrender, do not let the flow of my spirit stop with you. I am the God who told you a million times that I love you, and now I am asking you to prove your affinity for my word by helping me reach the one who is still lost. Every super thanks, membership, or PayPal gift is a specific and measurable brick in the fortress of protection we are building for the world. I declare that you are no longer a Ferrari with the handbrake on. You are a high-impact vessel of my kingdom, moving with wit and understanding. As you sow into this ministry, I release a fantastic reception of favor over your household and your future. I am your shield, and I will ensure that your yes today unlocks a memorable harvest of miracles tomorrow. Obey my voice this very hour. Click the link in the description or use the support tools here to plant your seed in the fertile soil of my promise. My child, I have spoken, and now the moment of your declaration has arrived to seal this divine rescue. Do not let this high-impact warning pass you by like a fleeting shadow. Instead, command your future to align with my protection by commenting below, "Father, I surrender my path to your perfect timing." Use this specific act of faith to grab attention in the spiritual realm and snap the handbrake of fear that has held your soul captive. Personalize this message right now, for your credibility as a believer is found in your obedience to my still small voice. By declaring this, you are visualizing your escape from the big tragedy and stepping into the fantastic reception I have prepared for your life. This is your memorable turning point. Speak it, believe it, and walk into the security of my wings. Amen.